So the police. So the
Children are okay with shouting and throwing things. They're not calling things.
Children need to be innocent. Keep
I know.
innocent.
What about the black children that watch their parents get beat down by the police every night?
Why don't you talk to the children in your house before you yell at me about
No,
that
I'm talking to you.
situation? That's not fine.
I'm gonna turn around so you guys can see what's going on.
Buddy, that is a really neat flag.
Hey, I wanted to come over and meet you. I'm Audra with Cops
I like
Northwest.
that.
Okay, Audra, how you
Good to
doing?
see you. Hi,
Good.
buddy. I haven't gotten to come over and actually talk to you.
How you doing?
Good.
Good, good.
So you were in, where were you? Because I know you were out of town when we had, I think it was last weekend.
Yeah, I went down to Salt Lake. Yeah.
Yeah, how did it go there?
It was cool. I was
Yeah.
just down there for some business stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I watch your
Wasn't-
stuff. I love it. I love what you do.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Now, are you a part of a church here? Or?
No, I'm not.
No?
No.
Okay.
I just do a lot of Bible
'Cause we're
study,
trying
home
to find
Bible
some
study. I know
real
it's
hardcore
difficult.
church, you know.
It's difficult.
Preach to the truth.
We've had off and on Bible studies
Uh-huh.
throughout the years, and some just people come and go at times,
Yeah.
and so trying to get something more solid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll definitely keep you in mind though.
Thank you.
Because we do.
Because my daughter, she's 20, and she's like, Mom, we need to find a church that preaches truth,
It sometimes takes us a year or two even to get through one book.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just a sugarcoat type stuff.
I know, that's what we need.
Yeah,
you know?
you're right.
That's why when I saw your stuff downtown and what you guys say to people, I'm just like, that's what we need
Yeah.
in Portland, you know.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, how old are you? 8?
Yeah.
You're 8 years old? My daughter, I have an 11-year-old, so she's just a few years older, and then I got a 20-year-old, and then I got a 2-year-old, and then one that's going to be 16. So I got
All ages. So do we.
I have a 2-year-old. I have a 2-year-old grandson. Yeah, the 2-year-old keeps me busy. Because I had my 20-year-old I had when I was really young. Yeah. And then my 2-year-old, I'm older mom, 38. So, Okay.
Okay. Okay, so here's what's going on. I pulled up and there was a guy that was walking down the street. He was up here talking to the crowd here. So basically, what's going on here today? It's pick it up. It's a back the blue type rally.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys? Alrighty.
What's up, man? How you doing? I like your flag.
That's a cool flag.
And then defend the feds. Just a rally coming out here. I believe the mayor's condo is right over there. He lives in one of those probably high rise or a suite. So that's where we're at. This is going from 10 to 2 today. So we'll see what happens, see how many more hecklers come up around or whatnot. It's obviously a mellow crowd, and they're just down here to support the police, support the feds, show support, which is a good thing because as we was downtown last night, the police and the feds, they're people too, and they have families. Whether you agree with them or not, a lot of them have children, a lot of them are married. They have mothers, they have fathers. They have mothers, they have fathers. And they've been being attacked at night too. It's not just the protesters, as much as the news will say that the police or the feds are the ones who are starting stuff. We were down there last night. For the most part, it was peaceful, and people was just standing around talking. But even in the midst of that, there's things that are hitting the buildings, bottles, rocks. People are throwing things at the buildings. So you can't tell me that is the police or the feds instigating it, when in fact they were not out. But yet you hear bottles hitting the federal building. So that don't make sense to me. So that's what was happening downtown last night. Of course, they were burning some flags in the middle of the street out in front of the federal building. And then as we were leaving, I heard reports that they were burning Bibles. That they actually, in the middle of the street where they were burning the flags, they added some Bibles to those flags. If that don't say anything, where we're headed to for the country, I don't know what does. Burning Bibles in the middle of a street in a metropolitan city. Obviously, it was protesters. I would assume, or that they were on the left. Some people will say that they were Antifa, possibly Black Bloc, BAM, which means by all means necessary. Maybe a handful of Black Lives Matter people. I don't know. All I know is that most of the people that have been downtown here in Portland, Oregon at night doing anarchy and causing chaos have been the majority of more white liberals, white people who are against the government, anarchists, communist type of folks. We did talk to a vet last night, and he actually was one of the wall of vets. They come down there earlier at night, and he actually was upset about what was going on with the people throwing things. He wasn't okay with it. Even while we were there, people was shooting off fireworks, throwing them over at the federal building and stuff like that. So, how you doing?
Still waiting on people to get here. They're on their way. So is that red line supposed to be part of the American flag? Is that what it is?
No, it's a fire.
Oh, fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Fire. That's what that is. So.
I actually kind of like that music. It doesn't really offend me.
I know. Yeah, I think sometimes they think it does.
I like it. I listen to it too.
Well, good. At least there's a good little turnout.
It should be a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's got a good little time to get out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hello.
So that's what's happening here. Like I said, they would be out here till like 2. When I first got here today, there was some opposition. One guy was walking with his child, and basically, don't belong here. Get out of here. Back up from the street. I want you swinging.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Pretty good.
It's your boy?
Yeah, my son.
Hey, man. How you doing? I'm Dylan. Nice to meet you, buddy.
It's not what you think.
Yeah. Good costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows all about it.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. All right.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Sorry, I had a little distraction here. So I was talking to someone. Sorry about that. So yeah, talking to someone. Someone walked by. And, yeah, I see. I think there's a guy down the way walked by. Let me see if I can zoom in. He's down there in the blue. Down there standing, he walked by, and basically I was doing some doxing, taking pictures of a few of us. So that's what goes on in our world. That's what happens in our world. I don't know where he went, but he walked by doxing. He's down there kind of behind a pole, so just wanted to pay attention to him. He has his little dog, but still. Yeah. He's getting ready to cross the street. Now he's crossing the street. He crossed the street right down there. Yep. There he goes. He walked by here taking pictures and doxing. thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely, I'm going to keep you guys with me the whole time I'm here. Get interviews, listen to people speak. Finally got a donation link. Obviously, that's for the equipment, travel expenses, such things like that. It's not for personal use, not for, you know, dates with my family or my wife. It's definitely for things that we need to report and make sure we can get to events and things like that.
No, I would agree with that. Most races in a word, like, there's some cultures that I don't appreciate, like, there's aspects of boxes. I mean, like, different grammar. Actually, it's considered a valid grammar by speakers, because it's just amongst speakers,
Looks like I made a mistype. I apologize for that. Don't mean defund. I don't know why I put defund. Probably because I've been hearing it so much throughout our city. So I accidentally put defund, but it's defend the feds. So I apologize about that. I'll have to fix that. You know, when I can. I can't do it right now. I'm live streaming. And I don't have Venmo or what's the other one? Zelle. I don't have either one of those set up yet. We'll have those set up probably within the next couple of days. Sorry about that, and I thank you for the consideration even. But yeah, I guess I want to get something.
That's your belief. I would respect the fact that you don't like a person, but it wouldn't stop me from being a friend with you. Because it's your belief.
Most people want people to know you better and finding you online eventually support them that I might not be as interested. But she'd be nice and civil and loving and maybe, you know, and willing to interview.
But this is what needs to happen. Like me and you were just talking. You're not yelling, I'm not yelling. You know, we're just having a conversation, and this is what needs to happen more. And more times than not, it's just a screaming match, and that doesn't get nowhere.
So here's, are you a supporter?
What's that?
Are you a supporter?
I am in certain ways.
Maybe you support more than the other one.
What was that?
You support him more than the other.
Oh yeah.
So I would say the opposite, that I don't support either, but I would lean towards Democratic. That being the case, it's like I can where you off very easily, but it's like maybe I'm ignorant about why I'm still a supporter or not a supporter due to having no love or not, and therefore I'm wrong. It's possible, and so it's the same for me as well. And for me to just rule out the possibility for myself would be I agree. You know, because like I haven't read all the history about it, and so like it's just me open-minded. You know, like, something that like I could be wrong. You know, and like so could you focus me on me and with myself and you and yourself, but like that I could be wrong. And therefore, being open to listen to you and see what you're saying and be like, oh wow, baby, yeah. If you do me wrong, then you be helping me out. You be helping me right.
Because you're open. Because you're, like I've always said, because you're open to educate. You're educating yourself. You can never stop educating yourself. You always want to keep educating yourself.
Perhaps you could, but it'd be tragic if you did.
Like, if you're one side, don't just look at that one side. Educate yourself on the other side. Like, I might be a certain way.
I will. I want you.
But I might be a certain way, but I also look at the other side and I listen to what they have to say, and I take my own stuff from that. I don't just ignore it and not look at it. I always look at it and make my decisions on my own.
Wise way to go. Yeah. If you're going to this, I guess this maybe the best piece of advice I can give anybody on forming belief correctly is to seek out the alternative argument and try to find the best version of both. Because most people have what's called the confirmation bias, which is the amount of evidence they need for the contrary belief is very little. Or for anything that supports your belief, they need very little evidence. They need a lot of evidence in order to change your view in other ways, and unfair about what they need. So if you keep that in mind that we're all going to that particularly, try to make an effort to keep in mind that like you're going to be prone to a little bit of evidence like, oh, I knew it was true, it's nice evidence, like scrutinize the evidence that supports you a bit more than you would normally, and not us to figure out.
Yep.
That's probably the best way to get it. Not I've been saying I tested for months, and like I realized that like what almost no one does is they try to, like, if you believe in you necessarily, almost no one tries to find the best guy on the other side, like the most educated, the most sane. That's his argument. They find like the kooky guy, and that's because it's easier, and vice versa. So I don't know. It's amazing. There's so many intellectuals like top looking at that are on both sides. So, I don't know. I'd probably stop there. Can I possibly partake?
Yeah, you can partake.
What group are you under?
Northwest, it's on the Northwest Cop Watch
Newsletter or a Google?
Facebook. Yeah, you'll see us down here again.
Cool. Is it weekly now or?
Not necessarily weekly, but we plan them periodically.
One of the flag, right? Can I buy that here or do I have to use that amount?
You have to get it on like Amazon or something. But one of the ladies has the signs that support the police signs, support the blue.
It's all done.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's appropriate. Yeah.
That one is police, military, and fire.
Oh, that's legitimate. That's like that coloring scheme is used.
That's
by,
what the colors mean.
Oh, cool.
The blue is
That's right.
police,
That's
and
right. That's legit.
the green is military, and the red is fire.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm hoping to join the military if I can. I'm 35 old, and I have a record, but if I can, I will. Hey, you can talk to you.
All right,
Yeah, you too, man.
Keep it up.
there we go.
Yeah, it was funny. He stopped here at the light and just sat there and
I asked this gentleman what he was speaking to the guy about. I don't know. I wasn't there for the whole thing, but what was he talking about? If you don't mind me asking you.
He's just talking about, about the different ways his views compared to my views, what we were doing down here, and we were just talking. We were talking about how it's nice to be able to just talk and not be in a screaming match. So it's nice. He's just talking about the different, his different views compared to mine. Whether I believe in certain things and what he believes in, and the fact that he supports more on our side than their side because he doesn't like the violence, and he supports the police because they're humans. It's really nice.
So what was the difference in opinion? You said his points of view versus yours.
I mean, not much.
Not
really.
much.
I mean, he pretty much supported the police and stuff. He didn't understand certain things, and which I was happy to hear that he's always educating himself, which is nice. He doesn't listen to one side. He listens to both sides, and he's always educating himself. But like he said, he doesn't like the violence.
Right.
He agrees with the protesting like I do. That's what's great about America. You can protest all you want to. But when it comes to violence is where you draw the line. You cannot have violence and have a peaceful protest and get your word across when it's violence. So, yeah.
So what do you think about what you think that the police should be dismantled, defunded, or things figured out?
Nope.
You don't at all?
Nope. Because because to me, like a guy I follow named Mike Glover, like he said with the George Floyd thing, he said, I didn't look at that and say that white guy, being race, that white guy killed that black guy. He looked at that as that piece of shit human being killed that guy. So it has nothing to do with race, and you can't blame one officer, one bad human being for all officers. That's almost like being racist. You cannot do that. Growing up, if you get, Latino, black, Puerto Rican, whatever, and then the rest of your life you don't like them, for me, that's racism. Because you're taking it out on everybody because of one human being. And that's pretty much what, to me, is what it is. Because those officers, I've seen it multiple times. They're quick, when something happens, they're quick to call them, for them to help them. But what they don't realize is when all this stuff, before this all happened, and even when all this stuff is said and gone, those guys will show up. Whenever you call them, they will show up to help you, and those guys will give their lives to save your life. They will put their lives down to save you, and that's what they do not understand. And all they're doing is their job. Those guys down there, whether you like Trump or not, the federal officers, Portland PD,
They have a job to do, and they're just doing their job. And at the end of the day, those people are humans. They have kids, they have families, they have husbands, they have wives, they have families they have to go home to. So to assault them, that's just wrong, you know. And you don't get your point across when it's violent. So,
do you think that there should be any sort of kind of reform, or not? I don't mean to say it in that type of way, like taking away money, but you know, because people talk about the systematic racism within the police. Do you think that there is any sort of things? I know we live here in Oregon, and obviously throughout the United States, different climates, different cultures, depending where you're at. You know, you have the South, you have the East, you have the Midwest. So do you think that there is, with it as a whole in the nation, some parts that may have, you know, more systematic, I guess, racism or things like that? A lot of people think it's a whole.
Systematic racism's a big thing. It's a big word
Right.
out there.
Right.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just garbage human beings, bad people, and I do think there needs to be a system in place to where if officers, because I support the officers, but I know there are officers and I know there are situations, because I've seen it firsthand in our own local PD, when an officer's doing wrong, other officers just shut their mouths and say, I'm not going to say nothing, I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm going to hide it from anybody so you don't get in trouble. I think there should be something in place for that, to where if they don't speak up, then they lose their badge, they lose their job, because that's wrong. You know, they swore an oath to protect the Constitution, and they should not be hiding wrongs that other officers are doing, because it also makes them look bad. But there should be a system in place there to where,
like a protection, like if you're going to say something, and
something like that.
Okay.
So either protection, or, you know, if you don't say something and we do catch it,
you're still held just as accountable type of thing.
Exactly.
Right on.
And there needs to be I don't know if it would be called a council, but you know how, like, if an officer involved thing happens, it usually goes to like the DA and the attorneys and the courts and stuff. There needs to be a separate non-biased organization or something governmental that investigates it fully, because a lot of incidents, you know, the police officer legitimately did wrong and he got off, and how he's back on the force. That's a no-no for me. That should have been fully investigated. That shouldn't, because, you know, a lot of attorneys, DAs, they're in, you know, they favored towards police, which I think they should be completely separate from police. Completely.
Good point.
They should not be, there should be no, you know, like the officer in that video, I can't remember what video it was, when that officers, police themselves should be completely separate of courts, DAs, attorneys, and there should be some sort of council in place.
So a complete unbiased sort of thing.
Because then it would end this, you know, well, the police officer got away with it. The police officer got away with it. And there would be none of that.
Do you think that's where some of the, you know, for on that side of the protesters, who's rallying behind the stuff, do you think that's where some of their anger could be coming from? That it don't seem like it's fair?
But I think a lot of the anger towards the police are political. A lot of it. It's a lot of political, and it's ridiculous. I mean, you can protest it and think it's political, but when it comes to violence and hurt, and I'm tired of the media talking about how it's peaceful when it's not, when our officers getting assaulted, when they're shooting, you know, people are talking about they're shooting fireworks at them.
Yeah.
They're throwing things at them. They are literally making IEDs, bombs, and throwing it at our officers. If that was 6 months ago and that happened, there would be a nationwide manhunt for a domestic terrorist that are bombing police officers. Does anybody talk about that? No. And another thing people aren't noticing that I kind of noticed was the federal officers. They used to be out there the minute the protesting started till the end of it. But eventually they got so much media coverage about how they were doing wrong that eventually no one caught on to this, but they stayed in the building, never went outside until about 1 o'clock in the morning. And from sundown till about 1 o'clock in the morning outside, it was nothing but chaos. And people are saying, well, the police officers are making us do that because they're attacking us. Well, from 8 o'clock till 1 o'clock, there was not an officer around at all, and look at the chaos and the violence going on. Trying to set the building on fire, ripping down the fence, trying to break in to the water system, to poison the water system. Those men that have families, have kids, and it's just, it's ridiculous.
So, I myself was down there last night, and I've gone down obviously several times. And it was for the most part, when I got down there, about 1,000 people. You know,
Yep.
it thinned out as the night went on.
There he is.
Around 11, I'd say probably around 12:30, I started hearing things hit the building. Well, there's no officers out there.
Nope.
But so what was the purpose and point of throwing things at the building? You know,
To antagonize
bottles.
the crowd.
Right, and then there was some fireworks that were thrown over the fence. So, you know, like I said, I wanted to see myself. I already had my own opinions. I've seen some things before, but okay, let's go see if it's really the feds or the police who are quote unquote instigating
Yep.
it, starting it. Again, there was no law enforcement from any branch out there last night at all, and that those type of things were still happening. It was still going on, and so yeah, I think the media does need to report the full truth, and that's one reason why we're out here, so we can just
Yeah, the media makes me sick.
right.
Whether it's our local media, national media, it makes me sick because they're spreading lies, and it's wrong.
Yeah, and even with that said, though, you know, you even, I guess, to give a little bit of credit or defend the protesters, for the most part, people were just talking, you know.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
you know, but then there's that shift in the crowds, almost like a daytime
Yep.
crew mid-swing and then
Yep.
the graveyard. And you can
Oh, yeah.
see it just kind of circle around, and then it ends up being a graveyard shift, and that's
Yep.
when all hell's going to break
That's
loose.
why I
and
appreciated the last night of the night prior. There was a guy down there, black of all people, a black guy. He was down there stopping them from beating the fence.
Was he in a white shirt?
I think so.
Yeah, and I think he did have a helmet or gas thing on.
I respected the hell out of that. I was like, hell yeah, because he knows.
Yeah.
Because this is not what Black Lives Movement's about. Stop being violent. This is not what it's about. And that's what I wish the people that are down there actually peacefully protesting, I would think they would outnumber them. And I would.
Right.
I mean, even if they peacefully protest and surrounded, I don't want to incite anything, but I wish they would surround the building, around the fence, and say, sit and peacefully protest.
Right. And see, I thought that was kind of some of the plans of some people was to go down there at night and do that. You know, whether it's been a number thing or not everybody wants to, who knows? But I thought that should either I thought it was going to happen or it should have done happen by now.
Yep.
You know, long time ago actually. It should have done. There should have been enough of us or people, however you want to say it, to go down there and in between them and the building or so.
Yep.
Hey, I appreciate your time and the talk, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right. Good to seeing you.
You too, man.
Glad you're here.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Interview there with that gentleman. Walk around there. So there's probably about 30 people down here right now. Maybe a little less. We got a dockster over there, I think, taking pictures. He's taking pictures of people, so he might be doxing. We'll see.
He's the gentleman that was down here the last time we were down here.
Okay, so he is doxing. So that's what he's
the one
doing.
taking pictures of people's license plates.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
And even people walking by or driving by honking, he was doing it.
Stay back. So here he is, an elderly man. He's doxing people, taking pictures of people's cars. Back up, stay there.
Someone gonna take a picture of his vehicle?
You guys, a little bit.
So this is what he's been doing, from my understanding, to people's cars. Oh, we can play the game too, right? See, a lot of these people haven't dealt with really dealt with Antifa straight on, so they don't know a lot of their techniques or or tactics, or the liberals, and that's what they do. They'll dox people. They'll take pictures of people's car. They come dressed regularly, and like they're just a regular citizen, and yet they're involved in kind of like a tyranny and communist sort of politics in a system that they want implemented. And you never know. They're just walking around looking like they're tourists, and they're taking pictures of people's license plates, and then they're finding out where people live, sometimes going to their homes, popping tires, things like that, writing letters to people's jobs when they find out where they work. They're writing people, trying to get people fired because they're patriots, or they support the police officers, or this and that. So they're completely against patriotism. They're against Trump or things like that. Yeah, the rumor is I found out while I was down there, it was a little bit too late, that they were actually burning Coleman. You guys can find her on YouTube and see some of her videos. They were doing fires last night, and then they started burning Bibles. I did not catch that, but they actually were burning Bibles in the middle of downtown in front of the Justice Center. So, yeah. How you doing? All right, all right. Oh, that's your dad. All right, all right. Dad came out. That's good. All right. What's up? Your son's a sheriff. Wow. Okay. Really? Here in Multnomah? Okay, Multnomah County? Nice. So you guys must get some heat. A little bit?
We just started coming out.
We just started coming out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Right. So, but how's it been since being us and the whole? How's it been, the whole division with, our people are? I mean, I've heard that.
On Wednesday, there was actually a BLM event in Russia.
Right.
So I didn't realize that was going on, but I went to support the Patriot part.
Right.
And I didn't realize, like I said, that there was a BLM event. So my children were out by the street. They were flipped off. They were have the comment FU to them.
And they're 9 and 11.
And they're 9 and 11.
Of course.
And so I went home. This was like a prime timing learning time for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, do you see that what we did when we got there, we prayed, we sang Amazing Grace, we, just all the things that we did, we praised the Lord. I said, then you saw the BLM side of things. They flipped you off. They, said F you to you. That's why we are on this side. So it was a great learning experience for my kids.
That's awesome.
Saying, this is where we are, and this is why we support what we support.
Right.
So it was great. So they saw. There
yeah,
was definitely dividing line.
I took my family out. We stood in front of the federal building about 2 weeks ago, and that's one of my sons over there. And we took them out, and one of the guys who were down there and hanging out came in front of my son and started spray painting right in front of his feet, F the cops and F your God, and yeah. I mean, he didn't touch him, so I'm okay, fine. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
You're pushing it, right?
Yeah, prime example of where we are at our belief system. This
Right.
is why, it's black. It's just black and white. There's no in between.
Right. And you being a preacher, open air preacher, going in the city, that there's the division coming. And then, we're already here with the division, light versus dark, evil versus good, spiritual battle. And like I tell a lot of people, anything that happens spiritually usually manifests physically and openly. So all this, the spiritual warfare that's going on, this stuff it's now being manifested out publicly and open. And I'm sure that. I don't care. I am the person who I vote for, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a president who can save or fix this world, especially where we're at right now. Our only hope is in Jesus Christ. That's our only hope, especially at this point.
Well, that's the reason why the Lord called me downtown to preach. He gave me a dream one night, and he said, show me I'm going up the 2nd and Burnside. I walked 2nd Burnside, and all of a sudden the words came out of my mouth and said, I'm going to deal with these unruly people. And all of a sudden, the angel walked in front of me and said, yes, he is. And at that time, a demon-possessed girl walked past, and she was walking, swinging her arm. She heard me yell that word out, and she flipped around and turned around back and started walking back toward me. And all of a sudden, I said, that's a hot word. So then I went back downtown, across the Pine Square, and started preaching. A guy came up from 4 stories up and said, sir, I can hear you 4 stories up. He said, yeah, I can hear every word you were saying. And I said, because God wanted you to hear it. And so I said, and so then I began to start preaching across the Pine Square.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
How long you been doing that?
3 years.
Nice, nice.
So that's what God's been doing.
Good.
These are things that's what's happening right now. Because if God called you a God, don't you think you better step up to the plate?
Right.
All right? Right there in John chapter 10, verse 34. He said, have not I called you gods? God raised us up because we are all little gods. We're going to be doing God things. God wants someone in his own image.
Yep.
So every time we go down there and curse a brother or a sister out, we're cursing the very image of God. Because we're all made in the image of God. So that's what people's got to understand. Every time you see somebody going out there cursing someone out, it is because of a fallen being, fallen angel that entered into that person and now speaking to that person and acting out. Because it has no body to act through. So it picks a body and acts through that body. Okay? So that's why everybody goes out there and start doing that. Man, that's the reason why God says, don't curse the image. You go and you read James chapter 3, verse James chapter 3. Go down to the bottom of that, and you'll see what God said. And a fountain yell both sweet and bitter water. How do we go about cursing one another? Very image of God, okay? James explains that very good. So that's the reason why we need to watch what we say and watch what we do. Because God's watching us and everything we're saying is being recorded. Okay?
Every deed, action, yeah, you're right. Yep.
Oh, man,
Good.
man.
Amen. Amen. Appreciate that, man. Yeah.
All cops are brave. AC.
Oh, that's nice.
ACAB.
All cops are great!
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 With the siren. With the siren.
Black conservative preacher over here.
So,
A celebrity here in Portland, Oregon.
right.
He's got a lot of videos you can see on Concrete Media. I blasted out his interview with Brother Matthew, the street preacher that gets jumped occasionally.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
can you tell us about that? What do you think about Brother Matthew? I don't know too much about him.
Him after what happened up there in Seattle at Chaz, and spoke to him. I know a lot of people thought he was crazy and things like that because most of the time we see him on the floor or being beat up or drugged or things like that. And I spoke to him about that. I'm not going to say it's a tactic, but he believes if he came to preach, if he came to give a word, that no one's going to take him away. The only way they're going to take him away is if they're dragging him. And in those type of situations, I've been in them before when there's mobs and mobs of people. I personally have left because it could get potentially bad. Matthew chooses to stay. You know, the Bible does talk about counting the cost. But Jesus said to his own followers, if they hated me, they will hate you. His
Because they're not out.
So back to that. So what Matthew does, he's not going out unless he's dragged.
Yeah.
And I can respect that. You know, people think it's a technique or he's just doing it to get attention. He's not doing it to get attention. He's there and he's not leaving until he's done with the message. So if you got to drag him out, then fine, that's what you're going to do. But so I can respect that, because a lot of people would run, especially in situations like that. They'd hurry up and get out. And like I said, he's counting the cost. He has a team, and most of the time he will tell his team, I'm not telling you guys, because I'm not going to, if I end up getting killed, I'm not going to have that on you. Because he's like, that was my calling. I'm supposed to go do that.
All right.
So.
Can I can't remember if it was, maybe it was you I was talking to at one point, or if it was someone else, but one of the times that he got jumped and knocked unconscious in the Portland protest, I think it was the night that he was tying himself to the pole somehow, but the story I heard was that they weren't just trying to hurt him, but they came up and purposely targeted like the base of his spinal column, where his neck meets his shoulders, and they hit him as hard as they could right there on his spine, and trying to intentionally paralyze him.
He hasn't told me about that. A lot of the things, when I met up with him the first time he came down here to Portland that night, and his jaw was swollen from being hit or sucker punched or whatever. That might have been. I'm not sure if that's when he was talking about, or if it was last weekend. I know he was down here last weekend as well.
It was a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so that was the night.
I think it might have been the night you interviewed him.
Okay, yeah, I know he was punched and fell back, and he was knocked out for a minute. I think it was a sucker punch or whatever. But yeah, when I met up with him, his face was swollen, but he was still as happy as go lucky. He wasn't cursing no one. He wasn't all them idiots or anything like that. He was still just praising. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm like, man.
So I'm not too nice on people. Not on you, but Brother Matthew. Did you say that sometimes he drunk down there? Is that what you said?
No, meaning drugged out.
Oh,
drugged out.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
drugged out. Like
right,
people
pulling
him out.
I don't know if I know there's some people.
Right, they
that
think
do the
he's
street preacher type, and they're kind of a little crazy, but some
right.
people do the street preacher stuff, and they're
right. And a lot of it's
clear-headed,
Right, and a lot of it's the zeal. When you go into a situation like that, where there's thousands of people and you're by yourself, or if there's only two people, you have to have some sort of boldness. So it's going to look crazy, like, wow, you're crazy for going down in the midst of basically a lion's den. And so it can look crazy, because what sane person would do that?
I have a question for you. There used to be a group of about 4 guys that go around Portland and street preach, and they were pretty intense and ruckus. I think there was something like the hell-raising street preachers.
Hell-shaking street preachers.
Was that part? Were you part of that?
I was. Yes. Yes.
That's interesting. You still roll with those guys?
A few of them I still speak to.
Huh.
I still go out and preach at times. More with my son now than with some of the other gentlemen. But yeah, it's still going on, still around.
I know 2 of those guys. You guys will probably know a viral video that went around. They were standing in front of the Portland Pioneer Square Courthouse, and they were interviewing people. There's a bigger guy. Wasn't looking.
Correct.
And the other guy just reached out his hand and caught the guy's fist, dead stop. And he just kind of had this big smile. He was very satisfied with it. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, it was
that video went viral. You guys have probably seen that video.
Yes.
Anything important over the last
yes, that was a good video, and I know throughout the nation. I want to say it was a few years ago. There was a big movement that went on when Target was going through some policies within their. When Target was going through some policies within their stores, it was a national thing that a lot of street preachers were, speaking out against Target.
They changed the children's toy section from. Upset about that.
Yeah, and there was some street preachers that did take a little trip into Target.
Oh yeah.
If you don't mind. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out sometime.
So. But yeah, definitely, like I said, I do still street preach. There's the events I go to across the nation and street preach and stuff like that. So.
I got a bad signal.
Yeah, mine was going in and out as well.
Yeah, I lost connection a little bit ago. So, where can people find you? I know that you're on the Common Sense Conservative.
Yep.
You can put some videos up on there. Where else?
Facebook, the Black Conservative Preacher.
Okay.
So that's my 2 platforms right now.
Okay. On Facebook, you can find the Black Conservative Preacher on Facebook, the Black Conservative Preacher, and then you can find him on YouTube. There's a conservative media group, Common Sense Conservative. They put a lot of videos on there from different people in different places, and a lot of the Black Conservative Preacher videos are there.
Yep.
I'm going to step away from
And if you guys don't know, this is the famous Villain Phoenix right there. And a lot of people
Infamous.
Speak. Yeah, man. So, where can they find you? I know the Villain Report is on Facebook.
The Villain Report on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at villain_Phoenix. And you can find me on YouTube, where most of my videos are, and that is Villain Phoenix, 2 words. I stream live on Twitch sometimes. That's 1 word, Villain Phoenix. I stream live on Facebook sometimes and YouTube. I'm trying to check out all these different platforms. I might try Twitter again. I might try Periscope again. But anyways, you can find me on those and check me out.
And roll with him. I mean, he has some awesome testimonies.
Are you guys recording each other?
We are. This is what we do.
We've done this a couple times now already. We kind of like interview each other. The people like it.
They do actually. Stuff that he's been some places and yeah, some things that I wasn't able to do. But Villain here, he's been able to pull it off. So go check out a lot of his videos and streams and stuff. So.
All right. I get some more interviews.
Good seeing you, man.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
You really know what this is.
So about Villain here in a minute. I'll give the. Oh, look at that. You want to say anything? Nothing at all? You don't want to say why you're down here? Oh, you're putting your head down. So the story. Let me talk to you guys about Villain. Hopefully he won't get too upset at me for doing this.
Yeah.
So the story about Villain is we had there was a Oregonians rally for peace a few weeks ago. Villain showed up. He was dressed suspiciously, may I add, and it was quite interesting. And we ended up talking at the end of the event and exchanged information. There was like 3 streamers reporting down there. Anyway, that's how we met. But so if you haven't seen, that's the man right over there. And he don't look like a person that would support the police, judging by character, or judging by appearance, not character. Judging by appearance, he would not look like the person that would support the police, if you know what I mean. Looks like someone that may be down. We have another dockster going on. This guy is taking pictures.
Live a block away.
Okay.
I totally support peaceful protest. I totally hate the violent protest, and I think this is great to come out and say it's not just the police that are the problem. So, absolutely.
Right on.
This is great.
Well, good. So I take it that you do support the police, or you don't, or kind of on both.
Support
okay.
the police. I think it's unfortunate that there have been times when perhaps they've gone overboard, but it's a gross mistake to just simply criticize the entire police department and say that they're racist entirely. There's bad apples everywhere, and just like what the protesters are having to deal with. The peaceful protesters are saying, hey, we're not the violent protesters, but you're like, whenever these events happen, they go seemingly hand in hand. And so, to me, it's like peaceful protesters start taking control and start taking your own action against the violent ones. So.
Right on. Yes, I came over here, so I apologize for that. I was jumping to judgment. I'm like, I saw him taking pictures, and I usually know what happens. They take pictures of us, then they do license plates, and they contact your place of employment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they try to get people fired who do this and support the police or who are patriotic. So,
well, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So, I don't get that because here's the joke, right? So the peaceful protests like this are occurring during the day. No one's trying to hide. No one's doing any damage. No one's harassing people walking by.
mm-hmm.
You know, the violent protests are the ones who hide at night and do
Yep.
their damage.
Yep.
And don't want to listen to any other opinion
Right.
that
Right.
isn't the same as theirs.
Right.
So,
Well, cool. I appreciate your time.
you bet.
All right.
Absolutely.
Stay safe.
All right, you too.
All right. Thank you. How you doing?
What are you doing, man?
What's that?
What are you doing?
Oh, just down there
Live
recording.
streaming?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't seen you guys around for a couple of years with these T-shirts, right?
Yeah.
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 I got here in 2018.
Okay.
I've seen you guys around. I like it.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
It's cool.
Yeah. Gotta have a bold statement, right?
Yeah.
So-
I've seen you guys right there on the front line.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
That's what Villain was just talking about. That Villain Phoenix, he's over there. He was just asking me about it. He's like, he was trying to remember the name of the group and everything. I was like, yeah, it was Hell Shaking Street Preachers, and yeah, we go out. And
What's it called? Street Preachers?
Hell Shaking.
Hell Shaking Street Preachers?
Yeah.
I think I looked you up once, and you seem pretty exclusive.
Yeah.
Is there a way I can roll with you guys? Get a T-shirt one of these days?
We can talk about it. We'll talk about it after this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my style. You know, I'm all about Jesus.
Amen. Amen. Hey, trust me. In a faith right now that seems pretty passive, we need more men.
Right. Last night, man, this church put out the call in Eugene,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a response.
Did they?
It was big.
Nice. So yeah, so Villain was down there last night.
Uh-huh.
He was down there recording. So.
Yeah, he saw a fraction of what was there.
Oh really?
He just saw the one front gate.
Oh
You know,
really?
Okay. There was a
there was
whole campus.
Nice.
There were like 200 people there.
Nice.
And
See,
the
that's what the
church
church
itself
need- that's what the church
organized
need-
the whole thing.
That's what the church needs to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the church needs to do that. I mean, David talked about that in Scripture. Who's going to rise up and stand? It's like all this just laying down and twiddling your thumbs or staying behind your wall. That's
Right.
what's it?
And I know, you know, some of these guys out here are not believers.
Right, of course, and that's
And they go to these church events, they get in with these church groups,
And they think that's
or they
right.
get arrested and they're in prison, and all of a sudden they're at that low point.
right.
So you got all these vectors for Christ coming into their lives.
Yeah.
I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty cool.
Yep. Well, that's good. Yeah, we'll definitely exchange
Okay.
information.
Yeah,
So.
I'd like to roll with you guys.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, more men who are ready.
Right,
And
dude.
that's what I've been like. Why isn't the churches downtown, man? Why?
I don't know.
I mean,
They're all,
amen for praying, but hey, if
Right,
the men just
yeah.
sat around and prayed in the Bible, there would have been nothing getting
Right.
done. You know?
Was it pray for land, row for shore? You
Right,
know?
and then go out and do it.
Faith without works is
It's dead. You know what I'm saying? Right. Prayer closet's good for a moment, a season. Get prepared. Now go. You know? So, you gonna be here for the most of the event? Or?
It's pretty low key. It was probably leave at noon. And
Yeah, we'll take off around then.
head back around noon.
Okay. Well, you can find me on Facebook too, so we can connect that way.
Okay, yeah, I'm on there.
Black conservative picture.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick.
Actually, live streaming right now. Gentleman here. Hey son, you want me to hold it? You got it? All right.
That was nice. Love you.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. You know,
Cop or security?
I think it's security. Is that right? Yep. Yeah, and there's inbox. What was your name?
John.
John Quincy.
Are you blind? Are you blind? Like,
Cool.
are you?
All right, John. No doubt. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
I was just talking to him, and he's been everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of rallies with you and stuff.
Yes.
He just likes it.
He does. He always wants to. Can we go out? Can we go out? Like, yeah.
You're on the right side.
Yeah. Bible talks about raising them up, so.
You're the only one.
No,
The others, we don't bring them out.
not yet.
They're young.
I mean, no, so they're older, but I can't make them. You know, I mean, they're not against it, but it's just that the passion's not there, right? With him, it's there. It's like I want to shadow dad, so I'm like, all right, let's go.
All right. Yeah, he says, I've been to I said, where have you been? Salem. I know Haley and Joey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good there.
Yeah. Good to see you out here.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
We were all wondering earlier what all the green was for, but somebody said, what did they say it was? The stripe. Do you know what
Yeah, so
That's
it's
fire
police,
down
it's
here?
police, military, and fire.
Oh, that's what they said, military.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen the green. I've seen the red and the blue.
Right. Here we go. Maybe.
You saw that post of that guy that came all the way from Chicago, right? He got a posting about it. Yeah.
You was what?
I was looking all around for Antifa.
He's looking all around for Antifa. How come? Because why?
I'm trying to find them.
Why are you trying to find? Why are you trying to find them?
See if they're spying on us.
To see if they're spying on us. See, I'm sure there's been some already around, spying, watching. They come in many styles. They're not always dressed in black. As we saw earlier, there was a guy down here doxing, taking pictures of license plates. And that's definitely part of Antifa's tactics.
Not have got our license plate.
What?
Better not have got our license plate.
Who better not have our license plate?
That guy that was taking pictures.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hopefully he don't.
I just seen a picture of me, you, and Robert.
Who?
I just seen a picture of me, you, and Robert.
Oh, you did? Where?
You saw it. Really? Of Antifa taking pictures of us.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
just see it.
Did you see people together?
As Robert found it
Where?
on the internet. Let's get over to a different corner. How do we go over that corner where there's no, only that one flag? Sound good? Let's see, hold on. Oh, hold on. Villain Phoenix, you can find him on Facebook. The Villain Report right there, interviewing this lady.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Hi. How are you?
How are you guys doing? Doing good, doing good.
You guys want to call over? Good for you. Good for you.
He's always out. 8. Yeah. He's been coming out, what, probably about 3 or 4 years he's been coming out with me. Since he was about 4 years old.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Is your first time out? Is it?
Yeah.
Yours too?
Yep.
Oh, wow. You a little nervous?
A little little bit.
Really? How come? Why would you be nervous in a land that's free to come out into a metropolitan city in downtown? Why would you?
A lot of antagonists, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I have, a lot of liberal friends on my Facebook. If they see this, they'll blow me up. That's for sure.
Really?
Yep.
Now, how come?
It's either they believe. The way I see it, it's either you believe 100% what they believe, or you're 100% against them. And that's kind of where I'm at. I can't speak anything that's opposing to what they think. If I don't say fuck the police, then I'm against what they want, you know?
Could you, I'm sorry for being naive, but why can't you fight for racial equality and support the police? I mean, so many people say that you just have to be this way or this way, but why can't you do both?
You can. At what cost, though? That's the question. Like what you're saying is either you had to believe one way because the narrative is what a lot of it has to do with media, what they're pushing, the lies that people believe, you know, because what's put out there on media, especially regarding the current situation, is what all cops kill black people.
Yeah.
The media shows that, and when you're just fed off the media, fed, and then you go on YouTube, and those are the top, you know, things that are up top of YouTube. Black man being shot, black man being killed. That's what just gets put out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and
so
I think that the people that are being violent are taken away from Black Lives Matter. That the
I completely agree.
And they're trying to steal what the movement is really about.
I think the movement personally has been hijacked a long time ago, even before now, of what it should have or initially started off as.
Yeah.
It was hijacked.
Compounding.
Right.
People come up with half-baked ideas, and it just keeps on building on each other.
Right.
Building on each other, and they just keep going with it and going with it. Like defunding the police 50%. It's like that's not a realistic goal.
No.
You can't. 3 months ago, you're like, we want them to have
right.
them
It jumps. It
training.
keeps.
3 months ago, they're like, we want them to have more training. How can you have more training if you want to defend them 50%?
Mm-hmm.
Do you not understand finance?
Yeah.
There's just no.
It
logic.
keeps jumping.
Some guy in the crowd came up with a half-baked idea and just ran with it.
Yeah, and that's usually a lot of times how that stuff happens. So you haven't really, either one of you guys have really experienced any sort of opposition yet. A little bit of.
Well, I haven't been out to. I don't go out to the protests because I don't want to deal with it.
Right.
I try. I don't usually say my opinions too much because I just don't want people to have.
So a silent majority.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like.
Well, I think if you're employed too, you have to be careful. If you're still employed, you have to be careful that you're politically correct and don't offend anybody. Or am I wrong? When you're employed.
Right. I know what you mean. I know what you're meaning. You just got to kind of be careful what you're doing and kind of, yeah.
Yeah. That your words cannot be misconstrued and reflect.
Well, that's because of all the businesses nowadays that support basically the left agenda on things. So you can't, as a conservative or Republican, you can't even give your 2 cents or your ideas or thoughts because
otherwise you're considered an anti or
racist and Nazi and yeah. And trust me, I've been called it myself. So. Bizarre, right? yeah, I've been called it too, and you know it's funny. I've been called it from a lot of the white people that are down there at night. Right. They're calling me Nazi, and because I'm not on that side.
Not on that side.
Uncle Tom, sell out. You're a disgrace to your own people.
95% of white people down there are white, and they're called
right.
Nazis.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that these white people are telling black people what the movement is
shit,
about.
right? Yes.
And racism, and instead of listening.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's good that you guys came out here. I mean, at least you're making a stand for something that you believe in, you know. So it's good that you guys are out here. What's up?
We need our police.
Yeah, of course.
We need better training. We need better communication.
Yep.
Yes, they have a lot to work on.
Yep.
Regarding racism. But you know what? The majority want to. They do. They are trying to do the right thing.
Right. Yep.
But defunding them is, I
That's definitely the wrong thing, is defund them. They actually they need to be funded so they can have better training or whatever they need. Yep. Yep. So.
Well, last night was an example. Some guy emptied 150 rounds.
I heard about that while I was down there.
So, like 87 in Gleason.
That's where, 150 rounds, like 9 cars or 4 apartments or something like that. Yeah, I heard it was a crate. I was like, what? Oh, he needs some better training. I'm just playing. He needs some better training. 150 rounds, not one per.
They hit one person in the arm. So.
In the arm, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
It took 150 rounds to get
One person. Hey, that's what they wish police officers would do, right? Why don't you shoot for the arm? Well, we're not going to waste all our ammo. Just for.
Yeah. They rock. Really rock. You got to keep it up.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys are out here.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Good to meet you.
I feel like I had to get out here at some point.
Yep. What's your guys' names?
I'm Chris.
You're Chris?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm
What's your
Debbie.
name?
Debbie?
Debbie.
Yeah. Quincy, I go by the Black Conservative Preacher on Facebook, and that's where I'm at right now.
Right
Oh,
on.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, it's
so-
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And your dad must be so proud of you.
Fire.
Fire?
I got,
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta,
I was-
I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget.
And that's what I'm recording right now on. You guys we're live, you know.
So this is my first time.
I think this is second time. This, as far as for here, this
Is there
is.
any like Facebook group that you guys are a part of that we could get some info?
So-
I'm sure we have tons of people that would love to.
So if you want to speak to the girl over there with camel hat,
Yeah.
black.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Quincy, so what do I look under?
The Black Conservative Preacher.
So I can join your group?
Yeah, it's just a Facebook page that I do a lot of the live stuff on, videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you. We love you.
We love the love.
We love the hate. Just bring it.
I hate with love, right?
Right.
Makes my meatloaf taste better. I like it, so.
Are we done march?
No, we're not. There'll be no marching day. It's just this. So I appreciate
And
it.
quickly, do you ever feel unsafe out there, or do you go out at night?
I went out last night.
Well, that worked out well.
Yes.
I've been dealing with this stuff for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So at the highlight of when it was really going on in Portland, I was involved in it. So
That was when the BLM started, right?
see, the whole thing, this whole BLM stuff is just it's piggybacked off of Occupy.
Yeah.
It's the same people. Remember,
From Occupy.
I was down there recording things at Occupy.
Yes, I live downtown.
Right.
And
So that's what this is, just piggybacking off that. That's
Right.
all it is.
Building into a new movement.
Yeah.
Just keep changing the name or whatever.
Yep. Because most of the black people, like I was downtown last night, and I interviewed some black people, and they're like, I don't do this stuff. I mean, I'll watch it, but we're not doing it.
Yeah, film it or whatever.
Yeah, you know, so it's really interesting just to see the dynamic and, you know, what happens. But there's at times, and I say more because I'm known, that it's intimidating. It can be intimidating to go.
Right.
Because I just know, like I said, their tactics.
Do they try to attack you?
Oh, they'll do all sorts of things. I went down last night. I did. That's who I was with. I was filming her. Yeah. Rihanna. Yeah.
Rihanna?
Yeah.
Really?
Not the singer. Not the singer. Right. So yeah, you can actually find her on some of the stuff. Once you contact me, I'll show you who she is. But yeah, she's a black girl. Went down.
Yeah,
She gives them a piece of her mind.
She has a GoFundMe
Yeah.
to clean up the city and stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I was actually with her.
Awesome.
So we went down there, but
People don't want to hear the truth.
no, they don't. I mean, and if you saw some of the footage, I mean, you know, yeah. So you saw what? Yeah. So that, you know, she's telling them to stop throwing stuff over the fence, and they're like, "We're going to do it anyway."
Right.
You know, but I thought it's a Black Lives Matter. What are you doing to help? You know, black people. Right.
No,
You're
they're
not.
just trying to get the fence
And it was
out.
other
Yeah.
black people that were.
Whatever they're talking about.
Right. It is.
Protesting.
It is.
It's way
It's-
beyond that.
Well, I think like I watched a scene from Thursday night that Eric Post
Mhm.
streamed, and
So one of the white Antifa guys was trying to attack the federal building, and a black man said, "Stop, stop! You're hurting the cause. This is what Trump wants." And then you could tell he was so hyped up on being violent and destroyed.
Right.
But the black man said, "You are ruining it for everybody." I mean, finally, but
Calm
it's
down.
the mob violence. I think it's like a form of getting off on it. Or
Yeah, it's a mob. It's mob mentality, definitely. So I'm gonna go over to this guy in the corner.
Quincy,
He has
nice to meet
nice
you.
to meet you too, Deb. What was your name again?
Oh, I'm Chris.
Chris. All right,
Nice to
Chris.
meet you.
Yep, yep. All right, you guys.
Have a good day.
You too.
What did you say? I didn't catch your name.
Quincy.
Quincy.
Yep.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet
Thanks
you
for
too.
what you're doing out here.
Thank you. Thank you.
People need to hear.
Yep.
Truth. God.
What?
I love your flag, little man.
She loves your flag.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Who's taking pictures? What guy? Where? In the, where?
She'll be back.
Oh, he was. All right. Okay. Are you? Did you come down here with the
No, I saw these assholes, so I went home and got my sign.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Why you call him that?
Well, maybe you can talk to the guy who told me I live in my mom's basement. I come up here, didn't say anything to anyone. They're obviously here to start trouble.
You said what? I'm sorry. You said
They, this cat back here decided that I live in my mom's basement when I'm a 52-year-old disabled veteran. I work every day. So that's why I call them assholes.
okay.
All right? I'm not interested in dialogue if you're here to back the police. So.
You're not interested in dialogue.
No, I'm not interested in dialogue. I'm
Well,
standing here holding my sign. So
what if I-
and
what-
I don't believe in Jesus, none of that.
Well,
so-
okay, that's your
Well, then
prerogative.
then
So
have a
what if
good
I?
day.
What if I?
I'm
But
gonna
you're
disengage.
but you're talking to a black man. You're kind of being a little hypocritical, don't you think?
Well, if you want to call it that, sir, that's fine.
Well, that's what I call
I'm not
it. You
interested
said
in
my
getting
life.
dialogue with you.
You're the one that says that my life matters.
Mhm.
But now you said you don't want to talk to me.
No, I don't. I'm not interested.
That don't make sense.
Getting in dialogue with you and your thugs here.
My my thugs.
Your thugs.
Who's who? Can you point out one thug?
I'm not going to, again, you know, if you want to go ahead and put it up, whatever.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out who the thug is. I want to call the thug out. So who's
well, it's right on that flag, that blue line.
the blue line? So those black lives that are part of that blue line, they're thugs? Would that be correct? In your opinion? We should have some facts. If you're going to come out and stand for anything, you should have something.
Let's have some facts about that shirt you're wearing right now.
Was that shirt's bothering you that much?
No.
Is
I
it the
mean,
color of the
it's
shirt or
no,
what?
dude, I like fantasy as much as anyone else.
Well, it sounds like it. It sounds like you do like it.
That's fantasy?
Jesus Christ, sure.
You think Christ is a fantasy?
Christ is a cunt. That's why he's never on the cross.
There's a child present. The rest of us are being respectful.
Then get away from me. I'm not interested
So
in that dialogue.
let's
I'm
do
not interested in Christian bullshit and your bootlicking.
So you know that's part of Black Lives, the
know
Christian stuff. You know that, right?
That's fine. I disagree with
So
it
you're-
too. I'm not here for Jesus.
You disagree with Martin Luther King too?
Hey, I disagree
You do
with
you
any,
disagree with Martin Luther King?
with any religion that tries to practice their religion on me.
Really?
Yeah, you have all.
You know you're part of a religion, believe it or not. You're part of a religion, believe it or not. You're part of a
I
religion.
was Episcopal. I've been through all your bullshit.
You're still
So
part of
take
religion.
that
That's just a
shit
sect.
and take
That's
it
just a
somewhere else.
denomination. You're still part of religion. You're just on a different religion. You know what religion is? It's practices and traditions. That's what religion is.
Well, you have to go practice it wherever you
Well,
like.
so do you.
I am.
You're practicing your religion right now.
You're absolutely right.
And you're pushing it on people.
That's true.
I'm standing here holding this sign up.
I'm offended.
I've not talked to any of y'all.
There's nothing wrong with
You
talking.
engaged me.
You're the one getting upset that somebody came to talk to you. You wanted
I
attention.
don't want to talk to you. I already told you that from the beginning.
But you're still
So why don't you go talk to Jesus and pray for me?
I already did. That's why I'm here. Send me, I'll go. Why are you here? It's okay to be here. No one's going to kick you out like your team does,
I
people.
guarantee you nobody's kicking me off this corner.
But nobody's trying to kick you off. That's the point. You're welcome. There is salvation for that, but it has to be open to accept.
Oh, they're so fun. You gonna dress up tonight? I'll leave you alone.
I like how they don't understand what religion is between the church, the faith,
I know.
the building.
Let's see.
Might be a shrapnel.
Yeah.
Your service, you're ashamed of your own service and make fun of mine.
He said that you're ashamed of your
I don't know what he said.
own service.
Right here behind the man.
Yeah.
We have these guys that we call them motards. And they have to have devil dog everything, a jarhead this.
Right.
They got the wall with all the knives and the plaques and all the flags. And a lot of times those guys didn't do that well in the Marine Corps. Actually, they almost got kicked out. They got in a lot of trouble. They complained about it the whole time they were in. And then as soon as they get out, I was in the Marines. You know?
Military.
I was just wondering if he was one of those guys or if he was a hard charger. You don't want to talk about it.
Kind of offensive.
I'm offended.
I have uncles, not aunts, uncles that were in the service, vets and stuff. And when you see people act like this, and they're not standing for the U.S., they're not standing for
So
people.
you're out here supporting the Blue Lives, right?
I'm out here just mostly reporting, but do I support the Blue Lives? Yes.
Okay, I got you. So, what's your?
Why shouldn't I?
Oh, I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm just. I mean, I was just a follow-up question to you. Are you thinking I shouldn't? Or
No, I'm
okay.
very neutral. I just like to get people's opinions on it.
Cool, cool.
It's a very complicated situation. There's a lot of facets to it. I just obviously know that you're mixed or African American. So I thought you was a scout.
Yeah, he's a doctor.
I thought I'd ask your opinion on like maybe the thoughts on.
No, he's a scout. He's calling in right now.
Either defunding or reallocating of funds. I guess what are your thoughts?
There could be some things that are changed. You know.
Who's coming? Jarhead.
There could be some things that are changed.
Yes.
How many you got,
You know,
bro?
but to defund them, why defund them? You know, like if you mess up at work, hey, you're not getting paid now?
Pay, right?
Right. You know, it's like, no, let's talk, let's figure out how to help you. What do you need? You know, that's the thing, you know, and there are black officers.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think people forget about that, right?
They do. I think a lot of times people forget about where even an officer just came from. Almost like they're not human. Because, you know, yeah, they have authority.
Have you ever studied Freud?
I don't mind.
What's called projections? You've ever studied Freud?
So personally, I think that's some of the things. I just think that you never know. They're human beings. For one, they have families, they have children, some have wives, they all have parents.
God is a myth.
So with that,
their lives are full of
they're in a high stress job. Most of us aren't in. We don't know. We don't know. I don't know what they're doing, and so they pulled someone over. That person had a good attitude. You know, they comply. They got along. They go to someone else. Somebody else is a jerk to them, pressing them, pushing them. You know, especially with the climate, what people say, oh, you don't need to listen to the police, screw the police, up the police. So then they just dealt with someone who had an attitude. Then they go from there back to someone maybe who's nice. So their mind is probably still tripping, possibly. Then they go to a murder scene and possibly see somebody dead, a kid, perhaps.
It's a job that needs a lot of mental and
it does. So why would
emotional strength.
Right? So why would I defund that? Why would I take away? Then on top of it taking away, look what's happening in the city over the past month with the shootings that have gone up. Last night there was someone that opened 150 rounds.
Really?
Over on Gleason.
Wow.
150 rounds? That's a lot. Then there's been like 79 other shootings and 20 deaths in 1 month because they've already defunded and dismantled one of the sections in the police department. Yeah, the gun violence reduction team. They dismantled that. that resource is gone. So the gun violence reduction team is no more. So now people aren't showing up on time when there's a shooting, and things like that.
Now, when we talk about those scenes that you're talking about, going from domestic violence, going to a murder, to going to maybe a drunk guy, those are all different varying things that you have to deal with as a police officer. Do you believe that maybe instead of defunding, maybe reallocating or providing more funds to get more psychological training?
Of course. Yeah. I do believe that. They do, because they do need that. Then you go home at night and you just, I just witnessed this. I just saw a car accident. I walked up to the scene. The person's dead, or... I mean, they're usually first on the scene. Somebody, right? Yeah, that would. Just psychologically, the things that they had to go with the drama. And then, well, this person was cool, but this person, they were pissed off just because I pulled them over because I ran a red light. They were pissed off at it. Well... Get over it.
Who has a gun on them?
You don't know that. Especially illegal. They know if a person is concealed. They know that because that's registered and all that. But you don't know if it's illegal. And people complain about profiling. We all profile. People profile you. They profile me. I profile these guys. I came over to talk to this guy holding the red shirt because I was profiling. I'm like, okay, I think I know who he's with.
Yeah, of course.
So we all profile. I'm not racist about it, but I'm profile. I'm like, okay, that he's not over here supporting this. I know the game, so.
I've heard this that I believe a little bit of it, that everybody has a little bit, to a degree, of racism or prejudice, or just some form of.
But there's nothing wrong. I guess people are so, and that's the thing for me personally within our society, people are so sensitive. I don't think there's anything wrong with prejudging.
Yeah.
Could your judgment be wrong?
I mean, that's how we are I know we're not animals. We have to prejudge.
We do. That's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like profiling. The prejudging is kind of like profiling. You're prejudging something before you know the situation you came up to. Was I mostly right? Yeah, I was. In my judgment before I got to him, I was thinking this. Was my judgment correct? Yeah. Or somebody else earlier that I judged wrongly, and I even told him when I went up to him, I was like, hey, I thought you were going to be this and you weren't, and so I told him that. But we all do that. I mean, we judge when we take a vote, when we vote one way or the other on election day, we're judging.
Yeah, of course.
So we have to a certain degree. We all judge. So there's to say, oh, don't judge me, you can't judge. I mean, it's baby talk. It's baby stuff.
Yeah, I believe that people are trying to maybe force some of their ideas, or maybe get somebody to see the way that they do. And I think if we live in America, people should be entitled to feel a certain way that they want to. Right. And when it comes to harming people, I believe opposite.
We got a Trump sign.
And
there is a Trump.
It's never an easy situation. I come from Nashville and Chicago, and it's completely two different places.
Right.
But in Chicago, you have blue-collar, hard-working people. You would assume that they're conservatives. They're everywhere, but I think when you get a city like Chicago where it's so segregated.
Yeah, it is there. I've been there. I've preached in Chicago before, and it is very segregated.
Yeah. And who knows why the reasons why that
right.
is, but
and then at the same time,
redlining.
Are you okay?
A little bit of redlining.
People prefer to worship and marry and hang out with people that are similar values, similar background.
That's a good point. I mean, that's true on what he's saying. With hanging out with people more like-minded, right. And that's not even. And really, at the end of the day, right. And at the end of the day, that don't even come down to a color thing.
It's something that they
It's purposeful. Parents expect their children to marry someone who's going to give them grandchildren that look like that, whether you're black or you're white or Hispanic or German,
Yeah.
So, are you from Chicago?
I was born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
So I lived in Chicago for 12 years. So it was really interesting to go from the South to Chicago, because I've always been the type of person to surround myself around just people who just want to love, and just want to just be cool. I mean, I have friends that are comedians that make some of the craziest jokes, and I make some of the craziest. It could be racist, it could be whatever, but I don't think either of us have the intention
Right.
of
Well,
hurting
in
people.
all fairness, though,
I
I
think
wasn't over here with
this
everybody
world
and
is
saying
for
that,
us
so I was
to
trying to comment, yeah, I
to observe.
Yeah. And you know, that's kind of like,
Love.
that's kind of a working class value, you know?
And I was the
Like,
only
say
one,
say
I'd
your
probably
piece.
be
If you offend
getting beat
somebody, apologize.
I get the crap beat out of me.
If not, they laugh, no foul, you know, right? That's kind of working class. And everything's racist. These are like, these are not working class values. These are coming out of the colleges. These are theories coming from academia.
So you guys have Evergreen College, right?
This guy just called him a cracker. A white guy just called another white guy a cracker. That's the first. Sorry, that's the first for everything. I'm just
You know, they were trying to get not just to get on the campus. This is what I don't like.
Antifa.
Well, no, it's just he's standing there not saying anything.
I try to get people
Like, yeah, you're coming in trying to have a conversation. But people keep talking to him. Just leave him alone, you know? Let him do his thing. He has the right to protest.
Yeah,
That's his...
and they tried to block him.
Fuck!
That was the...
Yeah.
Everywhere I've gone is working class people, the South, the North, the West. Everyone's chill.
Everybody gets along
together. People in church together.
I like your sign, buddy.
Somebody says,
I like your sign.
Somebody says, that's the end of it. You know, it's not getting fired or getting destroyed.
Right, find where you work, find where you live. It's a little...
But it's coming.
This guy came down here for Black Lives Matter, but his focus became on Jesus. Right, and it's been on Jesus since he saw my shirt. He's been angry about Jesus since he saw my shirt. But he has the Black Lives Matter. So there's a lot of vets here, and they're saying that he should not be wearing that uniform.
You're a disgrace. I want to see your record. You're a disgrace. Yeah, let me see your record. Hey, let me see your DD214. Oh, you don't have it.
I got mine on my phone. You want me to compare? That's what I thought. Get right.
I can only ask people what their opinion
I said, get right. Get.
I think everybody in the world should be wearing any of that crap. Good on both sides and bad on both sides. It's, I don't see any bad over here. There is some sensationalism going on.
See, again, that's the upper class of the media, the academics that blow all this stuff up. They promote what they want to promote. They suppress what doesn't fit their narrative. And the youth just consume it, buys it, and regurgitate. I know, that's my point.
Yeah, he was very angry at Jesus.
Hey, why'd you go to the green?
He's very angry at Jesus. You don't even want to hear the history of Black Lives. He cares nothing really about Black Lives.
Wow. Yo, why'd you join the Marines?
No, I don't have any hard.
Everybody has a reason. Why'd you do it?
Like I have a
What
dad
was your
that was
reason
in the
to join the
military.
Marines?
So I can
Yeah, true. Look at you shaking.
He's really shaking. I don't even mean he was in the Marines, but he's really shaking.
Look at you shaking.
There's about
You're a Marine,
7 of
dude.
them
You're
around
shaking.
here, and I'm all by myself.
You're a Marine.
And
You
we
should
got
be
this
shaking.
boomer here in front of this guy, and we got the police straight down here, one of the big boots.
If you're a Marine, you should be shaking.
That sounded racist, by the way. That just sounded very racist. That sounded very
That
racist.
you're licking boots?
What's that?
That you're licking boots?
That does sound
Okay,
racist.
Well, then you should complain about
You're a
it.
disgrace. You shouldn't even be representing that sign. You don't care nothing about black people.
Well,
You're the Nazi. You're the little Nazi.
I'm sorry.
You're the little Nazi. I'm glad that
Well,
this
here we go,
shirt
the
has
Christians,
triggered
they
you that
like
much.
and
This
he's
shirt has
trying
triggered
to
you
come
that
out like
much.
His little faggot ass shirt.
No, it looks like you're wearing the faggot stuff up on top of your little head. What is that, the little rainbow colors? That's the faggot stuff.
Why did you join the Marines? Did you join the Marines to protect your country, or did you do it for benefits? Did you do it for free money?
These people here, man.
Why did you join the Marines?
He said he said I'm bootlicking. That's what he said. He said I'm bootlicking. No, he said I am. Yeah, I know.
He's just writing a check is where I can't cash.
So if you're so proud to be in the Marines, why did you
I shouldn't probably get into that. I'm sorry, folks. I shouldn't be myself. Probably I'm supposed to be reporting. I'm allowing myself to get into it. So. He said I'm a bootlicking. He said I was a bootlicking faggot, and he actually has a little rainbow pin on his hat. So I responded. Maybe I reacted.
Karen's for cops.
Karen's for
My
cops.
son's a Marine. I know, you ain't no Marine. No Marine be standing down here like that. No.
It's a very safe assumption. It was a black
Yeah. So this lady just figured out he was racist too. They're all, most of the Antifa and the liberals are more racist.
Anybody can get some turnover purpose out there on that too. I would if you need me to. Have too much.
I think that's a good idea.
Why did you join the Marines?
Why
Shake like a sissy little. You're shaking like a girl.
You're shaking like a leaf.
You're shaking like
Why
a
did you
girl.
join the Marines?
Alright. I'm just
Shaking like
gonna
a
let these
girl.
fuckers talk for themselves. I'm not gonna engage with anyone.
Why did you join the Marines?
He ain't a Marine. That's
You
it.
ain't no fucking Marine.
He ain't never been a Marine. I can guarantee you that. Ain't not a chance.
You shaking like a leaf.
Bought that shirt at Goodwill.
Marines don't shake. Marines are proud and strong. You are shaking like a leaf.
You're a traitor. And you're a racist. I heard your little cracker comment. Your cracker comment was loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you. We love our blue. They serve us, they protect us. We support them.
No, dude, that's why I keep calling him out, dude.
Yep.
I know
Yeah,
he likes wearing dresses.
ready to do something different.
I know, dude. Yeah, no. Yeah. I'm a fucking proud Marine, and I don't even fucking wear the shit this guy's wearing.
It's some ad.
Plug your ears. You've got potty mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
People get a little, sometimes grown-ups get a little excited and they don't act very grown-up.
He won't even answer me why you're joining.
It's frustrating. What was your answer?
Everybody has a reason.
Your
why
daddy
they
must
join.
be so proud when he's flying that flag and that you love Jesus.
Yep.
I understand why he's mad at me.
I appreciate your sign though, okay? I do. I support
I'm gonna ask you again,
Black Lives
I don't
Matter.
bother you.
I'm
I'm sorry I cursed in front of you, sir. I apologize.
I'm not bothering you. I said I like your sign.
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
All right. I won't talk.
Talk to Jesus.
I did. Why does that bother you? Does the Muslims bother you?
Yeah, I'm on a corner right in front of the
I don't even turn the TV on unless it's one of the recorded. That's recorded. I rate her next season of not doing shows.
How you guys doing? Good, good. Thank you. You're getting, you get too close to the curbs. You need to step back in the curb, please. So, I'll try to give you guys a little recap of what's going on. It's basically a back the blue and defend the feds, kind of a rally or protest outside of the mayor's, I guess, condo where he lives. When I first arrived, there was a gentleman right there on that corner with his son, and he was yelling at everybody. Didn't really get much of that. Throughout the day, there's been a few people, you know, around Dockstein and taking pictures and filming. It's been pretty much peaceful. The only, I guess, real interaction or opposition that's been down here today is that gentleman that just on over the past probably half hour. Again, you know, I'm supposed to be more journaling on this time right now, and I allowed probably some of my my feelings to get involved. I guess when he started Jesus is when that hit home for me. Anything else is whatever, you can have your opinion, but you start talking about Jesus, my Savior, and I know if we go back in history, and since these people are talking about Black Lives Matter, but if we go back in history and look at the movement of the Civil Rights era, and even before that, there's a movie called Birth of a Nation, and these people, slaves, a lot of black people, they held on to Jesus Christ. They held on to God for their strength, for their hope of a better future. They had faith. And so when I see a Caucasian man holding a sign that says Black Lives Matter, and then he's triggered that much about some scripture on a shirt about Jesus, that's baffling to me. So that's what got me. Like I said, I allowed my, some of my emotions and feelings to get involved. But so I just want to apologize for that, for not being neutral or just reporting what's going on out here. A lot of these people who talk about Jesus, they will not talk about any other religion. They won't talk about Muhammad. They won't talk about Buddha. So yeah, when it comes down to that, I take that stuff very personal. So again, I apologize to you for doing that. Like I said, I was just really out here to report. But he's triggering. I think he's calling some of the White Panthers, the ninjas. We know them as Antifa. So he's gave a location. So we'll see if they actually show up. So. Yeah. I thank you guys for the donations and people who are supporting, sharing the live feed, liking the page. I appreciate it, you guys. Means a lot. And any donations actually do go for equipment. I know I need to get an external microphone that can pick up things, and some things like that. Better cameras, better equipment. So that's where, you know, travel expenses, go to other cities, other places that have rallies or protests that we can go and document and record. Obviously, better protective gear, because depending on where we're at, what type of elements around, you need that type of equipment to go walk into hostile and potentially dangerous situations. Even today, if this guy actually did call some of the Antifa to come down here, they will have weapons on them. You may not see them visibly. They may not be carrying them, but they have backpacks. They have things that they put on them. And I'm not sure how many people down here today have that, if any. So. The what?
That guy does, and he has it on the back of his sign.
He has what?
His name.
Yeah.
And his phone number.
Yeah.
Hey, if people were so godless, all this shit wouldn't be going on.
You're right. You're yeah. What's wrong? She was tripping out. That's funny. She was she was like, oh my God. Start taking pictures of all this. So, it's like someone up on a balcony up there put a Black Lives Matter thing. See, the thing about it, people, is that I don't think that people are offended about, like, the Black Lives Matter. I don't think people are offended about that at all. In fact, most people get offended when you say that all lives matter, which they should and do when we're talking about the situations that we're talking about, or just in general. But they think that if you say Black Lives Matter, that certain character. We know what Martin Luther King said: judge by the content of your character. Yeah. So that's her, like, third or fourth timer driving by. She's playing the song "F the Police." She drives by.
Daddy,
Yeah.
is this where we went when we were standing in the corner and all the Antifa were marching down the street?
Oh, so he just threw a bottle. I missed it, but he just threw a bottle at someone. Stand on the sidewalk. I don't know. I followed him, but I'll have to go back later and look.
Hit the muffler.
I'll have to go back later and look.
You got a good video of it?
Yeah.
The other side is so damn peaceful, they're throwing glass bottles at people.
You can probably file charges. They got cameras all over here.
Yeah.
At least, seriously, if something happens, we can stop.
Get around that shit over there.
Yeah, I thought I saw him go right. Isn't that a one-way though? Did they turn right on a one-way?
I think it's the person that keeps coming. That came 3 times. The thing on the
Yeah, I don't know.
car. I think that's.
There's other protesters that just showed up, and anti, I believe.
That's his buddy over there.
Sorry, Charlie. Yeah. Stop dragging on the floor. Stop. Hold it up if you're done flying it. Okay, so somebody drove by, threw a glass bottle out at that man right there with the helmet on. He threw a glass bottle at him, hit his motorcycle. He's thinking it was him because of the fact for potential backup. So they're thinking that possibly the guy who drove by is the one, could be a friend of his.
Hey, why you doing the break? Hey!
So he's taking off on his motorcycle.
White person saying racist to another white person.
So this white lady just called.
Yuppie!
This white person just called this black couple. She called him racist. See, this is what's crazy about Portland is that you have a bunch of white people who are liberals calling black people and white people racist because they don't agree with them. That's it's profound. It's crazy. She's, stay there, Corbin. Dylan.
Well, yeah, and if somebody's going to scream at us, we're just defending ourselves, but we're not throwing bottles at them. Come on now. Like those guys over there did. Yeah, who's she going to call?
What? Could you plug that in, please? Plug this in. Hold it. Could you plug it in?
Plug it in?
Yeah.
Right here?
Just push it in there.
I'm going to be racist like that.
Why are we being called racist when we're a bunch of black lives matter? I got that right on.
Trying to get my battery pack out, folks. So I'm sorry about the movement.
Yeah, okay, there's a black man there, but we're all being called racist. African Americans, beautiful people down here, right along with
Trying to get over to Villain.
We don't throw bottles at people, thank you. Yes. I'm sorry, but she just cut me down, all of us down, saying that I voted for Trump. Well, you know what? Trump is for people that are violent downtown, throwing bottles at people like that guy.
No, I did not say that. I said that this is typical behavior from those guys. Anyways.
Huh?
Let's stop.
What do you mean, who am I?
Huh?
Just with all the filming.
Why can't I film?
Live
He's
streaming.
filming?
It's the new media.
He's
Nobody trusts the mainstream media, so people are out live streaming these events so people can see it themselves. It's unedited, it's live, and then the video goes up later unedited, so people can see these events without having the media clip it and show hot takes. And some people do that with their videos, but it's just the new movement of media, so that you can see from the ground level and see for yourself and make your own opinion. So So when you see people with these cameras at these events, that's what they're doing.
Okay.
Most of them are live streaming and stuff. All right, man. I wasn't trying to cause any problems with you. I was just, somebody said that you might have been involved in that, so I was asking.
Like 10 times.
I know, and I'm trying to have a dialogue with you, and you won't do it.
I forgive you for bringing that fascist pig down here and letting him come across the street and attack me for doing like you do.
I don't know what you're talking about. I tried to ask you about that. I didn't see you get pushed.
Because you asked me, so I asked you. No, did you tear that guy's motorcycle up or ask me to tear it up, or did anybody?
No, it wasn't him. It wasn't him.
Okay.
Don't worry, it wasn't him. I was talking to those folks and somebody
Yeah, somebody was saying he might have been involved, so I was just asking him. He said no, so we're just checking out. You know.
I think the reason why people thought it was him because I think he got on the phone and called and said location.
I was just asking you. People were worried that you were calling people to come by and do that kind of stuff. So if you're saying you're not, we just want to make sure that
you tell me you're not having these people attack me. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna let you go on about your business.
All right. Yeah, I didn't know you got pushed. If I would have seen that, I would have got on camera.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I didn't know that his motorcycle had, but he come up there and pushed me for nothing. Go over and clean that glass up of your friend's motorcycle and take it back home.
Well, I mean, the only person who called was Reed.
Right.
So, you know.
And we were standing next to him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry you got pushed, man. One of the things on these events, like no matter what side the protest is on, the people get heated in them. Right? I try to keep people calm. I didn't see you get pushed. As far as someone came up and pushed you, I don't know what that was about. You know, I'm not about that. You know, I'm someone that's trying to push for peace, trying to create dialogue between the right and the left. I don't like the violence. I don't like the hate that's going on.
I have put my hands on no one. I've not actively engaged anyone. I've been actively engaged.
I'm sorry about that. You know, things are tense right now.
Yeah, of course they are.
And there's
That's
people
why I
on
kept
both
my
sides
mouth
that
shut.
kind of.
I was down here by myself.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what people you're telling me, come down here and tear somebody's stuff up.
Yeah. I didn't know. That's why I was legitimately
well,
asking
you.
you.
Do
So,
know,
yeah.
and you know
Thank
this,
you.
I would like you to leave me alone. I don't want to engage with you anymore. I don't understand why you just keep pushing me. If I was up in your face or I was over there yelling or putting my sign up in front of y'all, I've made every effort to get away from you. So I don't understand why you just can't leave me alone. I'm left y'all alone. I came over here on this street corner to be by myself and protest with other people of like mind, so there wouldn't be any trouble.
We're not looking for trouble.
Well, apparently
I'm trying
he
to create
was,
dialogue.
because he came over here.
You guys, so he said that he came down here with other people who are like-minded. You guys know him or kind of with him a little bit?
No.
Oh,
we
no.
just walked back.
Okay.
Came. We just felt better standing with him than standing with them.
How come?
Because, yeah, no.
What do you mean,
Trump
yeah, no?
Trump,
So, okay, it's fair, but what does Trump have to do with what's happening?
Because they've got a big Trump.
Well, I know they have a
flag.
Trump, yeah.
Yeah, they.
Well, most of them are American flags.
Well, you know what? Nobody ever said white lives don't matter.
Well, I'm black myself.
I know.
Okay.
What,
So
we got
that.
that.
That doesn't mean that you're not prejudiced, though. You know, so it's like, the thing of it is...
You said that don't mean I'm not prejudiced?
No, it certainly doesn't.
What do you mean?
Well, because the Black Lives Matter shouldn't make people angry.
No, it don't.
It clearly does. Did you see that guy attacking?
Well, I don't think it makes people angry.
Sure.
Why do you say that?
Why did that guy come over here and attack him?
So,
Because he's the only person with a Black Lives Matter flag.
no.
Because Jesus told him to. Jesus told him to come over here.
So,
yeah, Jesus did.
what do you mean?
Jesus told him to come
What does
over here.
Jesus have to do with this? See, you guys are triggered about Jesus.
Oh, well,
Because Jesus is on.
Jesus got nothing to do with it. Well, you got the Jesus hat on.
Okay, would you guys say that about Muslims? They wear their stuff all the time. Muslims do. Why are you worried about Jesus? Why are you worried about Jesus?
You said Jesus had nothing to do with it, so I asked you why
You're
you got
right.
the Jesus shirt on there.
Because Jesus is our only hope. President.
I disagree.
Just. Well, what's our hope? What's the hope?
Anybody can wear whatever they want.
It's not Jesus and magic babies.
Well, what's the
It's
hope?
not that bullshit Bible.
Is it Muhammad? Is it Muhammad? Is it Buddha?
It's no religion.
Well, so who is it? Is it you? You see the condition of people. You see the condition of mankind.
You should do
So
something
who's?
about it. Take your shirt off and give it to somebody.
Please, to who? Who are you gonna pray to? You sound racist your own self, liberal.
Well, he's triggered, man. Jesus got triggered again.
No one's triggered, dude. I'm not you. I'm not gonna fight you and get all upset because if you can't handle some words, then I don't know. No one's gonna fight you and throw something at you. I'm not triggered. You guys get triggered. You come with mace. You come with brass knuckles, knives, and all that.
Noah and I have no mace, but your guys do. knowing I've touched no one, but your guys.
I came over here to defend you. I came over here to.
Defend me. If
Okay.
they want to beat me up, I bruise like a banana.
You're a
I'm
hypocrite with
52
that sign.
Well, you can call me whatever you want to. You're a hypocrite wearing that stupid shirt.
Why? How? Makes sense. You don't even know what hypocrite means. These folks, and then them two walked away. It's something about liberals that they do not like dialogue. They don't like conversation for whatever reason. And he's triggered about Jesus the whole time. He's triggered about Jesus the whole time. And then you have, no one's triggered about Black Lives Matter. But what's funny is when you're holding a sign up that says Black Lives Matter, then you can't even have a respectful conversation with a black person. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. You won't even have a conversation with a black person, but you're saying Black Lives Matter.
What do you do for the black community?
Nothing.
Nothing.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Probably a few more. Probably about 10 out of 30. 10 out of 30 or 25 people down here who are people of color.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What are your opinions on the border wall?
On the border wall?
No,
I appreciate first you talking to me, and I know you're in agreement with him, which is fine. I don't care. That's fine. So I appreciate you coming and talk to me.
Personally, I'm agnostic, and I can't say I know too much about the Bible.
We don't have to talk about the Bible right now.
Well,
Let's talk about what's going on.
What I was saying is one of the most famous religious quotes is to love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
Is it not therefore our place to, when there's folks that are in worse situations, south or north of the border, that if they want to immigrate here for a better life, is it not our place to be able to provide that for them? To be the humanitarian country on a worldwide stage?
So, okay. Let's just say first I'm going to address the first thing you started with, to love thy neighbor. Okay? You're misquoting that. Okay? The best thing you can do regarding loving your neighbor is to tell them the truth. That's the best thing you can do. Love is not a feeling. It's an action. It's not emotions. It's action. That's the first thing. Love thy neighbor as yourself. If my life is in trouble, I want and I'm on a wrong path, I want someone to tell me, because that's the most loving thing they could do. Because love also hurts. Love hurts. It's not just always cupcakes and cakes and ice cream. Okay, so that's first and foremost. Second, regarding the wall, I have no problem with Hispanics, Mexicans, people from Southern America coming into our country. I have no problem with that. But what makes it our place as a country to take care of everybody else before we take care of our own stuff? We have our own inland stuff we need to take care of first before we say, oh, just come here and we're just going to provide for you and become a socialist country. Why? No, because no other country does that. So why should we?
Well, would you say you're a Trump supporter?
Would that matter?
Just because the next comment I was going to make.
Jesus settled that. He died for everyone.
Amen.
You hear that? Black Lives Matter. Jesus died for everyone.
So go on. Go ahead and continue.
Because what I was going to say is, sorry, I'm getting distracted. When, for example, under the Trump administration and the GOP bill, their omnibus bill passed it so that there would be no taxes on Amazon, Nike, all these huge corporations that are working off of off of employing folks in third world countries and paying them essentially slave wages. Shouldn't we have taxed those corporations and used that money to pour into our communities? Couldn't that have done so much more good using that money to help our houseless folks, help our vets like Greg, where the system has failed them?
There's a lot of ways to pour into communities. It's not just through tax breaks, and I mean, I think that becomes people's big focuses all the time is these corporations. Trump has nothing to do with the corporations, but we're saying, he has nothing to do with what's happening with the police. But yet we're putting it all on Trump. I've been hearing people drive by, Donald Trump.
How are you?
For what?
All right, bro.
What does Trump have to do with the police and what happened to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all these people?
He has the power to make a difference.
Does he? Are you sure? So Obama had the power to stop what happened in Chicago, all the shootings?
What I'm not.
Yes or no? Does he? Okay.
Trump didn't have the power to stop George Floyd from being killed, but he has the power to change the system.
What system?
I'm not completely happy with all of Obama's actions either. I mean, there was a period when Democrats had the House, the Senate, and the White House, and look what we got done.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I mean, from where I stand, Republicans and Democrats as federally elected officials I'm not happy with any of them.
With any of them, okay.
To be honest, I don't think any of them are doing that much.
But they can only do so much. No matter what president it is, they can only do so much because it has to go into the Senate.
Yeah.
So they can only do so much, unless they just completely bulldog and executive order type thing.
Yeah. And at this point, it's just a bunch of people trying to get reelected. They don't have the interest of the country at their heart.
Right. So again, I don't have no problem with. I just believe that there needs to be a procedure. Just like if I go to a Muslim country, I have to abide by Muslim stuff. Majorly, or I get killed. Is that fair? Would that be fair? Because most of the people that are over here that complain in the United States about how bad it is, wouldn't even survive in Muslims, and yet people defend the Muslims. They wouldn't even survive in a Muslim nation. But yet they defend how the Muslims are. The Muslims kill homosexuals. They kill them.
They do.
There's no rainbow flags flying over in a Muslim country. Trust me.
Hell, Muslims will kill.
They'll kill them. They'll kill women.
Even if they show or look.
Why do you think they're always dressed up around here and we accept it? We don't mock their God like what he was just doing about Jesus.
I mean, I can't really speak on that because I've never been to any.
So then why do we say that America's so bad if we don't even have an idea?
Because what we're saying is that America used to be, the world superpower. We used to be leading the world when it came to medicine, education, healthcare. When it came to our communities, we used to be what every country.
Back in the days, you're right.
I don't know. I wasn't alive then.
But you're right. But you're right. And you know why too? You know what that has to do with a little bit? Because America they actually had a love and care for God at one point, unlike now. Things were closed on Sunday. People went to church. Families went to churches on Sunday. That's one reason. But then you start having people get into political stuff, and people who don't, believe in God or whatever. Oh, we don't want prayer in the school. Well, now we want this for women. See, like walk by for what? Could I mention God? You ain't gonna do that in a Muslim country. I guarantee it. Go try it. Most people who do what they just did won't even do that to a Muslim person. For what reason? Why not? They're constantly wearing their religious attire.
Yeah, they can actually.
They
go get a license. We can't wear a hat. We have to show our faces. On their licenses, they can cover up their entire face.
Yep.
Because it's what they believe. And we don't say nothing about it.
No one does. No one says, hey, woman is covering her face, uncover your face.
DMV and I go, no, I'm going to wear my hat because who's for you to say that it's my religion or not, but my hat's my religion. I'm going to wear my hat and my picture. You know what they're going to say? You can't have your license.
Yep.
I see driver's licenses all day long where I work. And there are Muslim women, which I'm not against, it is what it is, but they can cover up their entire face and show just their eyes and their nose and have a driver's license. And no one says nothing about it.
I don't know if am I answering your questions or not? I kind of feel like I am, but I'm not.
Sort of sidetracking, but it's fine.
Okay.
I think
Phone keeps.
Trump has, in a number of ways, stood for symbols of hatred, which is why. Well, sorry, this is going to sidetrack a bit. Do you think that Trump is a Christian?
Is a Christian?
Yeah.
Or Becky for Blue, whichever you want.
Because when I see him,
I don't know. I'll put it that way. I don't know if he is. Does he have Christian values? Yes. Do I know if he's saved? I don't know. Has he came out and professed and say, "Hey, I was born again. Here's my testimony"? No, he hasn't. So I don't know. So I don't want to say, "Oh, yes, he is," and because I don't know. But I do say he holds to Christian values in areas.
Because it seems, to a certain point, sort of hypocritical that Trump has become this symbol on the right for God and for representing America, and then you can see the video of him just like doing whatever and then sitting down during the anthem at that private White House dinner. And then you see that just a couple of weeks ago he, sent in the DHS to tear gas folks at that park in Washington, D.C. so that he could walk there and hold a Bible upside down and make some speech. And it all seems performative. It feels like he's just sort of...
I won't lie regarding that situation when he walked out, went to that Catholic church, and I personally believe it was a little PR stunt. I do. I'll be honest. I don't think it was sincere and genuine.
In the same way that when I see like Nancy Pelosi put on the kente cloth and kneel in the Capitol.
Right, same type of thing. Right. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's performative, so that they can get some good PR instead of actually.
It is unfortunate at times that where we're at in our world and society that you sometimes have to pick between the two evils or the better of two evils. Sometimes you have to. I'm not saying that Trump's evil. I'm not saying that the other party was evil. But again, there's more things that Trump aligned to my core beliefs than I forgot who he ran against. Oh, than Hillary. Yeah. Duh.
I'm not a big fan of Hillary either.
President Trump's done a lot for black.
He actually has it, and that's the other thing. So that's why I was going to go with you next, because you have Black Lives written across your mask. Yeah. So what's that about? I'd rather talk about that, since I believe that's why most of us are down here today, is about Black Lives Matter. And
do you believe in education, educating yourself at all?
Yes, sir.
Well, you need to look up what, with all the bias and all the bullshit aside, you need to look up what the president has done for the black community.
Sorry, I've got to respond to this real quick.
I mean, black unemployment is the lowest it's ever been.
Yep.
In my lifetime, and I'm 34. I can't speak for anyone past that, but in my lifetime, it's the lowest it's ever been by a long shot. And that says something. Only president in our history, and not even my history, in history, that's actually donated his presidential pay to charities. No presidents ever donated their money to charities.
I know Jimmy Carter did a bunch of humanitarian stuff, but he was also before my time, so I'm not gonna...
He did humanitarian stuff, but he didn't donate his presidential pay. A lot of people don't realize presidents get a paycheck.
Yeah, $400 a year.
He donates to charities. There's always a different charity. He doesn't just pick one and favor one. He always picks different charities and donates his money to them.
Sorry, I got sidetracked by all this. Y'all had asked me a question before about Black Lives Matter and education.
See, people need to realize educate themselves about the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter movement itself is fine. A lot of these peaceful protesters, but the Black Lives Matter organization.
I guess they don't.
Why are you being racist?
I'm racist because I don't want this person coming out.
Oh, this person!
That took a minute to get out. I know. That took a minute to get out.
People need to separate. Because
and
the one,
now
like
when
the
I don't
lady
want
that
to talk to
one of the
her, and
ladies
her
that
pit
runs it,
friend, and these other
she was
crackers, and
committed.
this guy here.
Whoa, that's a lot of internalized racism you got going on there.
Oh
my goodness.
I'm just gonna go ahead and let her run her mouth.
Oh, run my mouth?
Oh, yeah.
I would love to.
You know, the Bible says with having it. I mean, it's crazy watching it.
Can I talk to you? Can I have a dialogue?
Yeah, because this is my assistant.
It's been happening for years. That's what.
Can I have a dialogue with you, please?
And this is the reason.
It shocks me to watch. Do you agree that
And he doesn't care that he's
You
got a
say
black
that on your
husband
side, you
and
don't
she's
want to
black.
talk to black
Yeah,
And he's
people.
totally rejecting her.
Hello?
It's insane.
So you don't want to have a discussion on why Black Lives
I
Matter?
don't agree with them.
You don't want to prove your point? I see you're shaking. I can tell it's the adrenaline.
Everybody has their right.
Can you talk to me,
Like if you
please?
were willing to be civil.
You can hide behind your sign, but you can still talk.
But
I have a
let's say-
mask on,
let's
so
say
it's
you
okay.
don't
You're
like
protected.
Because I have a lot of friends.
Hello?
If you don't like Trump, I like Trump.
Hello?
As long as you're civil about it, you're not angry, I would have no problem.
Okay, disengage
My belief
and...
is you're that's your right.
I'm a black person.
That is-
That's supposed to matter.
I know,
But it
That's
doesn't.
the hypocrisy of it.
I know, it's so sad.
And then he said, he just told me that Jesus would be marching against us. And
Yeah, I know. My whole shirt has done triggered him out.
Oh, yeah. Called you a Jesus freak.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's it. That means your black life doesn't
It
matter.
matter.
Because
Don't be doing things, please. No, I don't want to talk to you.
Okay.
But like this, that gentleman, you can't even have this conversation. But like what you're doing, that's what you gotta do.
Okay, now.
Because my thinking is you're real quick to
Oh boy. This is educational for sure.
Well, I was speaking to one guy, but what? You said what?
It's a girl that was arguing with mommy when we went downtown by the...
Which one? One with the white stuff on her sleeve?
Yeah, that's the girl.
At the park.
All of us.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah.
My son is saying the girl over there, her and my wife was having some words. I'm trying to get my battery plugged in, my external, but what's happening when I plug it in, folks, is that the weight of it is making the gimbal go to one side, so it's not completely working how it should. So I'll have to figure out another way to get some sort of battery that won't make the gimbal uneven.
Peaceful protesting doesn't do anything at all. Like if we look at it, it's constant pain with it.
So good.
But like when it comes down to it, like that, like it's constant people MLKing his life in order for anything to change. If we wanted to buy it,
So did you see him get run over by the mob and the guy who stopped him have to get saved by federal police? You didn't see that? I saw them take him to the Justice Center. Yeah, that's where you take people you're arresting. You take them to the Justice Center. Right. Hey, police, we're on. Save us. No, nobody wanted that. Actually, I think it would have been fine if
It's just
he didn't get
amazing. You
saved
guys
at
don't
all.
want the police yet. When somebody gets stabbed, you take people.
You guys wanted it. I didn't really care. I think we should defund the police. I think they have way too much money. I think over
You guys want them to have
$30 million for one
Let's
city
defund
is
the
too
police,
much.
but we want to give them more training. You know, training costs money. So how are you going to give them more training?
No,
that you're asking
you're
for?
putting words in my mouth. I actually never said
You're
anything about
protesting
that.
the same. This is what they're asking for.
Do
So
you the same thing? You think everybody thinks the same thing?
I'm supposed to think you.
Do you want to
That
ask
means
me?
do not have any police.
That's not what that means. There's a
Yes,
difference between
it is.
defunding and abolishing, actually.
They're both being called
It's the
for,
same
so
thing.
which one is it?
Okay, do you want to ask me my opinion?
Go ahead and give it. If it's different than what I just said, tell me.
It's so you think so. What you brought up to me
What
was
is your opinion?
a contradiction. So give them more training.
I think if you're part of the protest and that's what they're calling for, then it's a safe assumption to make that.
Okay, so then you're racist. So then everybody here is
I'm
racist.
racist.
Right?
I'm fucking racist because I'm assuming that her group is the
No,
same.
you're saying that a group out of people who say blue lives matter. Some people who say all lives matter are racist. So because you're racist.
Blue lives matter. The
What if I was
the brown lives matter.
Yet she don't know that guy across the street went and talked to
Nobody is born a cop.
a black guy.
You are born black. You are not born a cop. You
Nobody's
cannot
born Antifa either.
You can go home. You cannot stop being black and go
Most of
home.
these cops would like to go home at the end of the day, but because of
Maybe they should
organizations like
quit.
BLM,
They should
we
quit.
don't get to go home.
They don't have to be here.
What?
Yeah, well,
They don't have to be here.
I
They
don't
can
know
just
that.
stay
Like,
home.
we could have that community policing, like when you're 6-7 people drag that street preacher out of the protest 6 times, pull them
Yep,
down,
I do too.
beat
We're
on
gonna
it,
go home and
pour shit
walk.
on it. We can have that kind of community policing. Have you
So
lost your
what
mind?
so it was okay when that happened to the person who stabbed Black Rebel?
That's community
So what you're
policing.
saying is that when they found and grabbed the exact person who stabbed Black Rebel, which by the way, if it hadn't been for those protesters, they wouldn't have found the person who did it. He could have just
It had nothing to do with the protesters. My
She's-
friend was the one that pointed it out. Stood there.
Oh, you're talking about Nightly Chud? Yeah.
Nightly Chud? No. The person who pointed out, all these people stood there watching Black Rebel hold his side going, I need to go to a hospital. Everybody stood there while, I'm not going to tell you his name, stood there going, get him, get him,
Yeah, I've
get
seen
him.
the video. Thank you. I've been on Twitter.
I was there. In 15 minutes, taking control of your
I never
nation.
said that.
Chaos.
Last night,
Unorganized.
last night,
And what
Brenda
you're
was down
asking
there
for
getting-
contradicts the other half.
Getting harassed by
This is
her own
hilarious.
race.
I can't wait
By
to see
her
the
own
outcome.
race.
She couldn't speak.
Oh my God.
And
It's
my
not
fight
about
me
race, but it's
because
about race. It's
because
about race.
she wasn't telling
Are you
truth.
making it about race?
She wasn't telling
Did you
truth.
harass? Was she white?
No.
Was she what? I'm curious what her race was. Okay, so just getting harassed by her own race.
By
What do you
people
mean
holding
with
BLM signs, harassing somebody who's
By the BLM
black, trying to tell truth.
Oh, okay, she was
about
black.
the
So her race
riots.
matters because she was black. Is that
Every
what you're
race
saying?
matters. We don't have to put a color on it. Why do you have to put a color on it?
Really? It's so
You're
important.
they're holding a BLM sign.
Oh no, you're getting harassed by your own race. Oh no, we're all white. Oh no, somebody called the cops. They're being harassed by their own race. It's Black Lives Matter. And if you truly believe that all lives matter, then you wouldn't be afraid to say Black Lives Matter.
The blue, and I go start harassing a police officer. Am I a little bit of a hypocrite?
Okay, so not every person of a certain race experiences the same things as other people. Like you and I are white people, but we have very different experiences as white people.
I'm a grown up.
So when somebody is black and is getting harassed or talked to at a protest by somebody else who is black,
No, by white people, by black
because
people, by every
everybody
color.
has different experiences as human beings with a specific skin color.
Love Jesus and think that people just need to
I support
stop
the officers.
the riots,
Yeah,
stop
I understand the Black Lives Matter, the root core of
stand
it.
for the BLM organization that
No.
is giving nothing to the black
Yeah.
community. The BLM organization
There's a way to deal with it.
tens of millions
so.
to Biden, 20 million in salaries.
No, nobody likes Biden.
20 million in
Nobody likes
salaries.
Biden. I don't know who likes Biden. I don't know who likes
You've been
Biden.
on the BLM website. It goes to ACT, which contributes to all kinds
You're
of
thinking
Democratic
is a large
political
corporation
party
versus
candidates.
the actual
The movement's fine. I have no problem with the movement. I have a problem with the organization. And I have a problem with the people within the movement harassing other people who have
So most of the money that gets, I've actually seen the receipts, most of the money that gets donated through Black Lives Matter goes to legal fees and court fees or housing or, yes it does, it goes to affordable health care. I've seen it happen. I've literally watched it. I've seen the receipts.
No.
Or like
organization does not do anything for the black community. That's you're incorrect.
And you would know because
20,
you know
tens of
you are
millions of dollars
in the
go
black
to
community.
political candidates.
You are just so
no,
in the
it's
black
a
community. You
501c3.
personally
And
are
an intelligent
not
person
receiving
can
from
look it
this.
up. It's public information.
Yes, and I did look it up.
Yeah, obviously not. Obviously not. Because the first look at the salaries, 20 million. Who's in charge? Who's getting 20 million in salaries from BLM? Who?
I think you're thinking of something else.
I'm not thinking of anything else. Look it up. Go on their website to donate. It'll take you right to xblue.com. If you've been on it, you would know. And you can see everywhere the money goes. And when it starts out here,
people like
20 million, 10
$10,000,
million, 5 million, 3 million, 2 million, 1 million, and a few thousand goes to things that support black people. That's what that organization is. It's a joke.
The sign.
So what you're talking about is people profiting off the movement, which has been happening forever
what's happening.
So why does that discredit the whole movement and the riots? I really don't see where that makes the difference.
He goes, what do you mean they told you you were fake? Fake Marine Corps, Johnny. He goes, I'll take care of it.
Because $10 is a stain on this community.
He is. This is all his fault.
That's why we're here. We're here because of Wheeler. This is against Black Lives Matter. This is against leaders that aren't doing their jobs.
I came up here and started talking about how fucked up Ted Wheeler is. Like,
Ted Wheeler's a piece of...
I think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I understand, everybody has a different story. But the narrative is endangering police lives, and it's not necessary.
It's not endangering police lives.
It's absolutely.
It's endangering the First Amendment right to protest. When you get shot,
no one's shooting protesters.
I got shot.
They're shooting each
Do you want
other.
to see where I got
You know
shot?
why?
Do you want to see
Because
where I
there
got
was
shot? Do you want to see the
riots.
burn on my hand, the third-degree burn that I got on my hand? Do you want to see where I got shot in the head? I haven't touched the fence once.
Riots.
I didn't see you had flogging Molly with the shirt I like. I didn't touch the fence once. I didn't climb it. I didn't do anything. I got a concussion. I got third-degree burns.
It's like anything
I got
else.
leg damage.
When you go with a group of people in that robs a bank, everybody's guilty. So you have the ability. They announce and announce and announce.
I stood in the street. That's all I did.
We're going to.
I held up a piece of plywood. Oh no! Please murder me. Like I am here for my First Amendment right.
No,
I am allowed for exercising your First Amendment right. I was in the middle of the street. I held up a piece of plywood, and I got a concussion. Had to go to the emergency room. I have permanent damage to my body.
Announcements that they were going to use munitions and crowd control.
Actually, a unlawful assembly. It was state versus Stoffens at the time in Portland.
That's true. I mean that. You can just.
Yes, actually, it is not a crime in Portland to block the street because pedestrians have right of way 100% of the time.
But you have no permit to
additionally, I will
protest.
look it up. An unlawful assembly is not against the law.
Violating the COVID restrictions by having all these people.
You're outside without a mask.
Yeah, I have
All
a mask.
this, none of this.
But I'm not within. I'm
What
not
do you
next
mean
to
violating the
anybody.
COVID?
I'm not
If
next to
you're worried
anybody.
about her mask, does your mask not work?
Does your mask not work?
No, I don't. I'm not here to argue about COVID. I'm just saying, if you think I deserve to be shot in the head because we're violating COVID restrictions, what are you doing?
I think you should be more intelligent than that and step away from the people that are committing crimes.
I think I
get
should be able to stand for my First Amendment rights, like you're standing here. What if all these
You know what? If these people started breaking windows, I would go and stop them. That's what I would do.
Nobody's been breaking windows since the fence came because they have a fence in the middle of the street.
No, that's a lie. The windows were being broken for a month and a half
I
before
said
the
since
fence
the fence
came.
have gotten here, the only damage that's been has been vandalism, like spray paint. Oh no, I should get shot in the head because some people around me
shooting fireworks, lasers.
I haven't done any of that. I don't own a laser.
Water bottles,
I don't know fireworks. I haven't thrown anything. The only thing I break are the things on my people.
Nothing to happen.
I haven't committed any crimes. It's innocent until proven guilty, right? In this country, it's innocent until proven guilty.
Who's paying to clean the mess up?
If you commit a crime,
People that work.
you are entitled to
that
a
work.
jury. You are not supposed to be just shot in the middle of the street because you are near somebody who is committing a crime.
That's a chance you take. Just like when you walk in a bank with a bank robber, it's a chance you take.
We're not walking into a
You
bank
stomp
with a
around
bank
in a
robber.
garbage truck,
We're
sooner or
standing
later
in
you
the middle
start
of the
smelling
street
like garbage.
exercising our First Amendment
What
rights
happens?
to assembly.
No, you're down there
It is our
committing
First
crimes.
Amendment right
They're
to
down there
assembly.
committing crimes.
I stood in the middle of the street. Nobody got on
protests go
federal
on all
property
day
because
long.
actually the fence was past federal property. The fence is illegally in the middle of a public street in
Illegally.
Portland.
Oh, now you want the law
No,
enforced.
it's getting.
I gotcha.
I'm just saying, if you're all about, if
That
you're
was-
all
that
about,
was good.
oh, they're doing
That
this
was good.
illegally, they're committing crimes. They should be shot in the head because they're
No, I
committing
never
crimes.
said that. Don't put words in my freaking mouth. I
If
never
you're like,
said
oh,
that. Nobody
don't,
deserves
don't
to be
near
shot.
people who are
But you
committing
could
crimes.
use your brain for something, like step away from the people committing the crimes.
That's what
and
we
you
do
won't
when
get
we're
shot.
out there. So that's your victim blame. So,
Victim blaming?
yeah, that's
It's
literally
called
victim
stop
blaming.
playing the
So do you
victim. How
think-
about that?
So do you think
Why don't
that
we
a
just
girl
all
who walks
take
down the street in
accountability
short shorts
for
should be
our
raped?
actions?
Is that what you're
Oh, that's
thinking?
cute. That's a good one.
No, that's very similar. That's very
No,
similar
that's
thinking.
really
So you don't think that, right? So I'm allowed to be in the middle of the street. You believe in the First
If you're
Amendment,
going,
right?
you know what my dad taught me? If you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. So suck it up.
Look, I'm not saying that I'm gonna stop because I got shot in the head with a flash grenade. I'm just saying.
You guys have studied America. You know, we're losing the value of America.
That's right.
It's about time we get up and drag these stupid people out of here.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
America is a great country, has great
USA.
values, and these people got no value. They want to put America down. They're not going to succeed. But God is in charge.
Yes.
And God loves America.
Amen.
And America is going
Woo.
to be great.
All right, now all right, fuck freedom of religion too. It's separation of church and state's gone, I guess.
Tell it. What, he has no right to, what, we can't believe in God and support our police?
No, I'm just saying, he was talking about not stopping until God is in charge. You guys cheering for that, I guess I as a Satanist.
I'm okay with God being in charge. Absolutely. Absolutely.
How come you get? How do you believe in?
All right, so you're just for taking away people's First Amendment rights. You don't care about the separation of church
Can-
and state. You don't care about my
I'm
freedom
not
of
taking
religion.
anybody's First Amendment rights.
No,
You're running your
I'm
mouth
just
here.
saying,
Usually, I
if
would
you
like
think
to
God
smack
should
you
be
down,
in
so
charge
shut
of
you down.
America, then you obviously, if you don't agree in the First Amendment, if you don't agree in the Constitution, then I guess we have nothing to argue about. Like, just say you don't believe in the Constitution. We're done.
You don't have a logical argument with the Constitution.
No, I'm serious.
You have no
If you
logical
don't think that we should have the freedom to assemble and the
Sure.
freedom to religion,
But you don't have the freedom to commit crimes and destroy other people's property, other people's things, and hurt people that don't
I
believe
didn't
the
do
same
anything.
as you.
I didn't do
Just
anything. I
because
got
they
shot in the
don't
head. I
believe
got
the same
third-degree
as you.
burns on my hand.
Feel free to associate with better people, and maybe you won't get hurt.
I have the freedom
Find
to
a better
associate with
crowd.
whoever I want.
You do.
If I
Don't
committed a
come out and cry
crime,
victim.
then I'm entitled to a
Don't cry
trial.
victim while you're
I'm
hanging
not
out with
entitled to
criminals.
get shot in the head because some federal officer thinks it's fucking funny.
Well, I shouldn't get shot
They
with
don't
tear
think
gas
it's
because
funny.
you guys want to do stupid shit.
Right.
I shouldn't have to worry about getting slapped when I'm
You're
out
exercising
there.
your First Amendment right to.
I shouldn't have to
whatever
worry
the fuck
about
you
getting
want.
followed into a
But you know
7-Eleven.
what?
I shouldn't have to worry about getting doxxed. I shouldn't have to worry about my
standing
friends
out
getting
here on
stabbed.
the
I shouldn't
side.
have to hide myself when I'm out there
crosswalk
because
with a motorcycle.
Okay, then why are
Is
you
that
here
the
without
right
a
way to
mask?
see
Do you
it?
think I'm not worried about that? Why do you think I'm covered
Hang
headed
on,
on
I have
fucking
something
flag?
else. Wait, how come is freedom of speech is okay for you, but when I go to your protest at night, I can't? God help me
Yep.
if I say
Who attacked you?
I was told I dare you. I dare
Who
you.
attacked you personally?
How would you know who?
I see you.
How,
Oh, you were with Nightly Chud in that fucking 7-Eleven. I know. Oh man, you're fucking crazy. Oh, I've heard about you. Damn.
I am crazy. And guess what? I still go out and you guys still can't.
Where's
hear
your
me.
boyfriend? Where's Nightly Chud? Where is he? I thought he'd be here. Wasn't he supposed to be at court yesterday? You know, he threatened to actually fight me in a Safeway parking lot when I told him to pull up. He didn't.
I
Fucking
have
ditched
no
me.
idea what you're talking about. Or who you're talking about.
Oh, Nightly Fox. Sorry, if your brain couldn't put two and two together, I'm still waiting for him to pull up
I know
on me.
him by his real name.
Well,
He
let him
doesn't
in,
have to
don't let him
hide
in.
himself.
Was it Daniel?
No, it's not.
David? He told me it was Daniel.
bottom line, you still get attacked there.
I'm just saying.
But if you're talking about freedom of speech, I'm trying to figure out why I don't have freedom of speech when I go out. I'm trying to understand it.
Oh no, he actually, if you want, I could show you the screenshots. I said the revolution's coming. He said, I hope I see you when you do. And I'm like, okay, I'm not afraid to pull up. He said,
That's
no,
not a
I'll pull
protest.
up on you. Where's your address? And I said, I'm from
Hoping I see you when it happens is life-threatening to you.
sensitive.
literally had people threaten my life.
How many times have you been shot in the head with a flash grenade? I'm sorry. How many times have you been shot in the head with a flash
Zero.
grenade?
You know why? Because I'm not dumb enough
Is
to
it
stand
zero?
there when they're
Is it
fucking
zero?
throwing shit.
It's zero, isn't it?
She's trying to
I'm
cover.
dumb enough to stand there when they're throwing stuff. When I see the cops come out, I back up. You know, I just don't want to get hit. I'm not stupid. Why are you not doing it? Why are you not backing up?
It's
If
a
you're
public
so
street.
bad,
It's a public street.
if you're so standing there doing anything wrong,
It's a public street. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong sitting in a public street.
Backing up wouldn't make the victim story work very well.
I'm in the middle of the public street. I shouldn't have to back up.
you know what happened to me last time when I was out there? A can hit near me and then it exploded. I couldn't see anything.
He knows. He knows.
I ran to see where I got shot in the fucking leg.
I ended up running into the side of the building when I left. You know why?
No way. Your First Amendment rights. I've been getting shot with fucking hurricane damage. Medics would help you. You guys help you.
I left. You watch this fight and folks to stand with me then.
Yeah, that sounds like your opinion. It's not true. It sounds like you just don't care about First Amendment right to assembly. Is what I'm saying.
I'm standing here assembling, exercising our First Amendment rights.
I'm not breaking the law. I stood in the middle of the street. An unlawful assembly is not against the law. Look it up. State versus Stephens.
Got somebody in the street.
An unlawful assembly is not against the law. No, I'm dead serious. I am dead serious. I will look it up right now. State versus Stephens. Right fucking now.
Yes, they do.
These people, man, these people. Fine. If you want to, yeah. Okay.
Dad, you get a pictures of this?
I know. Thanks for the entertainment. You knew what we were getting ourselves into down here.
Down here, I was looking up something on YouTube and that streamer guy saw this.
Shit, he's going down the block!
And I go, I put on some motion. Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching it and then started talking about it.
Well, he just asked me to start.
Where's your silly string? You didn't bring the silly string today.
People every time. I know.
Is this a guy for us or a guy for them?
These for us. Yeah. Yeah.
Losing ground, guys, let's go!
Without getting beat up.
Jesus was black, actually. And they
Was
murdered
he?
him.
Was he black?
Yeah, he's from the Middle East.
Yes, he's from the Middle East.
There's not a single white person in the Bible. Think about that.
Don't tell me about the Bible.
I will tell you about the Bible.
You don't even believe in God. So how are you going to tell me about the Bible? He's doing great. So they're starting to show up. They're starting to show up. That's what this is.
It's funny, I went up to that dude, and I'm just trying to start a conversation. I'm like, so have you held that shield in front
He's
of the
not
federal
even letting a
courthouse?
black woman
Have you done that at
He's
all?
shouting Black Lives Matter, but he won't let a black person talk to him.
Well, I even asked him if he held that shield in front of the federal
But
courthouse.
they're
and he
making
didn't
this
even say
racist.
that.
I didn't used to pay attention to skin color that much until recently. So I'm kind of put in a position where I feel like I have to now. I gotta be all sensitive and pay attention
bitch. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous.
This dude's out here for
Like,
clout. That's all about it.
yeah, and put her on the street. Why don't you go right next to that guy, man?
Well, yeah, it's good to see you out here, man. Oh yeah, with the big old Jesus hat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all good. I think it's wackadoo crazy shit right over there. One dude over there, he was all talking about having paramilitary folks to do the army jacket to come up to my house and stuff like that. Man, don't be doing that. It's an easy way to get your head blown off.
Black Lives Matter! 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 Americans are fucking dying. You got lost. You fucking piece of shit. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Yeah, I'm a piece of shit while Americans are fucking getting killed by cops. Yeah. Black Lives Matter! 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 Black Lives Matter!
Them than I would ever be
Black
able to.
Lives Matter!
I've been pulled over before. I was more scared of getting a ticket, which I did, than I was of getting shot. Like that is, and I was born in Salem, the capital of Oregon. Like that's not a worry of mine. I love our Lord. I have never once been afraid of cops ever. We'll give me a ticket. That's it. No. I don't think I've ever. My brother's a cop. For sure. I don't think I've ever truly feared for my life, to be honest. Ever. Which I'm grateful for. And I get that I'm privileged in that sense. And I hope is that I think a lot of Black Americans are like that. You know, there's a little You guys are disrupting. Seriously, these people are trying to have a nice meal.
Black Lives Matter! Go back to Battlefield. Battleground, that's right. Your dog raising business. Black Lives Matter! She was on TV last week, time in Portland, and everybody gave her name for the news. So
yeah, so those people who want to, you guys already have my address. I should talk to you.
Or me. They won't talk to me.
Okay, so I was wearing a mask.
Black Lives Matter!
Don't forget to get something on the gift shop on your way out tour. Thanks for visiting. I just think it's rather interesting because they say Black Lives Matter, but not all Black Lives Matter. Does that make sense? Only certain ones that agree with their opinion. Whereas I like talking to people, it's something that I've always loved doing. And yeah,
Went over and apologized to him and they don't want it.
And I've noticed that people on the back of the blue side are way more willing to talk to people.
Black Lives Matter!
Not yell, I'm kind of yelling.
Black Lives Matter!
Not yelling, but then you know, they're just screaming, won't talk to anybody, and it's really disheartening. And it's like, what's the point of trying to get permitted?
Black Lives Matter!
Their whole shtick is, oh, Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter!
I think it's
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
There's a frustration with things
Black
like
Lives Matter!
oh, well, you're saying generally.
Black Lives Matter!
The individual who executed
Black Lives Matter!
You know, in a state, in a country
All
where
day.
Black people make up 30%
Black
of the
Lives
population,
Matter!
you're actually, you're
Black
pretty
Lives
much likely to get
Matter!
murdered by police if you're black.
Black Lives Matter!
That's statistics actually, I did the math on it if you want me to look it up. Black people get murdered at a substantially higher rate than white people in the United States of America. In Portland, so black people make up 6% of the population of Portland. In 2018, they were 65% of the people who got pulled over. You're going to tell me that's not racial profiling? 65% of the people pulled over in Portland are black. They make up, what did I just say, 6%
65%. No, pulled over. Pulled over even.
Breaking the law.
65%, more than half. More than half. You really think? Why they were? You really think demographic that makes up 6% of the population makes more than half of the crimes in a city?
Why? Because there are consequences when they work.
So you really think that is 0% racial profiling? I personally don't know, but I personally don't know. Do you really think that is 0% racial profiling? Do you know why those people get pulled over? Do you know why those people get pulled over?
I'm not pulled over because my color. I'm pulled over because I was breaking the law. I was breaking the law.
I've gotten pulled over when I haven't broken the law.
There's a bunch of people in Boston who were throwing tea in the river, they were breaking the law. And the British army, the British loyalists, the British crown murdered them in 1770.
That's true. Laws.
About 5-6 years later, we had a new nation. Because they realized that people being killed legally doesn't validate people being killed. Because you can't legally murder somebody. You can't legally execute somebody. You can't legally destroy someone's life. Because lives matter. Black lives matter.
No, you don't. You don't deserve to get.
Human life does not fall on whether legally it says it matters.
Comply when you're under arrest. Comply. You do not resist
The law
arrest.
doesn't determine whose
You do
lives
not resist
matter. The law
arrest
doesn't
when they
determine
say
whose
you
lives
are
matter. The law does not determine the value of a human life.
So you think that
The
he
law
deserves to
does
have
not determine the value of a
knee in
human
his
life.
neck for 8 minutes and 29 seconds?
I do not agree. He should have been treated that way. I do not agree, but I believe that he should have complied with the law. And if
Fuck you,
would've
he
complied
cried for his
with the law,
mother. He cried for his mother dying in the street.
He
He cried for his mother dying in the street. He cried for his mother dying in the street. He was terrified. And he died. He died. He was another American.
Why are you so angry? No,
I put this flag on our uniform so Americans wouldn't die.
Do you know why?
And he was killed.
Why? Because they suspected him to have a counterfeit $20 bill. The cashier said that he knew he didn't. No, the cashier said that he knew that he didn't have a $20 bill.
He was out of his mind.
He was
two different drugs. He was out of his mind.
Did you know that the cops who murdered George Floyd actually knew him? Yes, I know that they worked together. Okay, so did you know that the cashier who called the cops on George Floyd actually said that he didn't need to call the cops on him, that it was just training, that it was routine, and that they murdered him? He did not commit any crime. He was suspected of committing a crime for like 20 seconds. And then they called the cops anyways, and they murdered him. Murdered him. He resisted arrest. He resisted arrest.
you said you
resisted
said-
arrest.
I want to talk.
If you
want to talk.
You comply. If a officer says
you do not
So you want to?
I'm not going
You
to
wanna
talk
talk?
to people who fucking want to piggyback on a movement with their own little all lives matter thing.
Piggyback it.
You want us lives matter to the all lives matter? It's a bunch of fucking
I'm
jokes.
not talking about that.
I mean, this lady
So you're still in the Black Lives Matter because you ain't black, dude.
civilian authority. She won't even
You're
wear
a white
mask.
boy that's perpetrating.
When there's a
That's what you are. You're fake.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, really. You're fake. You're racist your own self.
absolute minimum.
You're racist your own self.
The weight of a polyester.
You give us a bad
Watch
name.
your back, man. Watch your back. I actually do care.
You give us a. You don't care. You give us a bad name.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
No logic. There's no nothing here.
You're racist.
Black Lives Matter.
You're not entitled to his time.
Not even about
No, it's not about you, actually. Fun fact, not everything is about conservatives. It's not about you. If you thought about that, it's not about you. I didn't say it was about you. I said it's about black.
Yeah.
It's not about you as a person. It's not about you as a person. We're not yelling about you. We're not here because of you. We're here because of the black people who are getting disproportionately murdered.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
not about you. You're a conservative. It's
They do.
not about you. I'm so sorry. That is not all about you. The moral conservative.
You're saying it's
That's all you
about
guys
you,
can
but
say.
you contradict your beliefs.
They're ignorant. They're straight. I know.
What's your name anyways, by the way? I just want to hear, I'll probably see you. Black Lives Matter!
I'm glad I met you.
Black Lives Matter!
I'm gonna lose his voice. Yeah, I know.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Very ignorant, Kim. Very ignorant. There's no talking points. They don't know much.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
They have no talking points. They say they want to debate, but they really don't. They don't even hardly talk to black people.
I go down there. I don't believe speakers of Black Lives Matter and all that. I go down there and continuously try to protest, police protest folks on trying to do peaceful protest. No, what I've told you is the same shit. If down there holding the shield wall, you're the one complaining that that's violent. Yeah. Shields up front, umbrellas on top to make sure that people aren't getting shot with rock salt.
So you're making sure that they don't get shot by stuff from the feds, but you're not making sure we need to.
That's not feasible. You're standing by the news. Standing by the
On this side, the wind. Right.
It's one of the most difficult things that I've had.
Someone get ready to log out here. I think this is probably about it. We're about like an hour past our time.
It's like I've tried to do as much as I can. I'm not reading your shirt. I'm not gonna go
She's
around.
reading your shirt.
The whole fucking that's not my job. My job, what I do, is try to make sure that people are getting lit up and all that. You know, I'm trying to talk about peaceful protest. I'm trying to talk about Black Lives Matter because I do somewhat support a little bit of like what they're saying. I don't believe in abolishing law enforcement and stuff like that because that's a horrible fucking idea. Because then all you're left with is private security sector.
See what this sign says.
I wasn't able to show up downtown last night.
Let me take it. Let me take it. Yeah, I know. Yep. Let me take it. Hold it up. Take it down. When you're ready to take off. You went back over to that lady. Did you? Hold up.
I think I know that guy that was saying Black Lives Matter.
Oh, really? What makes you think you know him?
I think
The guy in the red shirt? Huh?
No, that's that.
Oh. Nice meeting you too.
I'm not leaving yet.
You're not
I'm
leaving?
supposed to be
Okay.
here.
You had a great dad.
Thanks, you guys. Be safe. Oh. All right. So obviously, it's kind of, you know, as far as any sort of opposition, it's kind of mellowed out. Just across the street. It's kind of mellowed out a little bit, which is fine.
I'll take it.
Thank you. Just at any time.
So I thank you guys for tuning in. I'll probably stay just a few more minutes. I'll go back over here to these ladies, see what they're saying. Come here, son. See what they're saying.
Public space, public speech is happening survey. And that's like an interesting conversation where all these companies are saying, they're having to define, are you a company that curates the content or a place that allows conversations to happen? You know,
Randy says come to Springfield next. Well, which Springfield, Oregon or Springfield, which Springfield? Well, we have a Springfield in Oregon down by Eugene. I'm not sure if you're talking about that, Randy.
And that's, I was technically exercising my right of freedom of speech. Someone can think that that's where I'm kind of like, those are already exceptions. So it's kind of like, or if I actually threaten you, and I'm like, I'm going to do this and that, that's technically, it's either better or it's not like that.
it probably depends on the state, because some states assault these different things.
Oh, yeah.
What are you recording for?
I'm just streaming.
Onto what?
The Black Conservative Preacher.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Share it out. Go ahead.
I think that's interesting that you were saying, because I would say I agree with you on that. Things that, you know, do incite like violence like that, it should be, but I don't think I would consider that hate speech.
Yeah.
Because hate speech is more subjective. You can say something that would be harmful to me, but it wouldn't be harmful to the next person. And that's where I'm like, it's so many blurred lines, very gray area. And
Springfield, Eugene. So what's happening down there? I know Villain Phoenix was down there. Phoenix Villain was down there last night. I heard about some stuff. Is there stuff happening today or this evening or tomorrow? What's going on? Maybe you guys, somebody could inbox me, let me know.
I don't know if you remember the doctor who said vaccines cause autism. Do you remember that guy?
Yes, I know exactly.
He got arrested for saying that. Like, I mean, it's illegal. Like, I mean, it was fraud. It was, so it is illegal already. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know.
It's tricky because you have
Black Lives Matter!
like intentionally.
That's the only thing they know what to say.
Thousands of people online.
They have no dialogue, no communication, no facts, no history, no understanding of stuff.
Intentionally misleading.
Black Lives
I don't think they're necessarily that smart. I think social media platforms have an obligation to take that.
Fight your own fucking movement. Black Lives Matter!
If that source article then makes somebody's
Black Lives Matter! What's that girl? Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Especially
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
national discourse.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
As a country, like a culture, rely on
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
I was like, I was so distracted.
I think if social media has become something that we apparently rely on from the 80s.
Yes, yeah.
Did you hear last Saturday when these jokers were doing this shit? What's appropriate? And if that means, like, all lives matter, whether or not various news organizations are interpreting.
I already called them out. I call them out for being racist. I mean, they are. It really comes down to it. They really are.
Like, we should be able to have a wide variety of other as long as they're valid. Like,
No, they don't.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Right.
Black
Yep.
Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
5 few more minutes.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Where's your microphone, honey? I got the one back for you.
Black Lives Matter!
He's so full of hate.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
They are certainly not woke. They are certainly not woke.
These guys up on the corner drop some signs. It's kind of rad because like as all the idiots are like screaming at it, you look around and like every apartment. I think it's like
Black Lives Matter!
Over your white privilege.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Yeah, we're the ones standing next to each other.
Right.
But we're the racists, right?
Black Lives Matter!
Why are you using black people for your agenda? Why are you using
Black
them?
Lives Matter!
Why are you guys using
Black Lives Matter!
I don't do shit. I mean, I've been SWAT racist my whole life.
Black Lives Matter!
They are Antifa. They're completely Antifa.
Grew up white and half your family's a fucking racist.
Black Lives Matter!
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
And you know, part of it's like the fucking world that my grandma, my great grandma, they just love me. You know, I mean, my grandma told me some shit was just like, don't ever trust them. And you're like, oh, what are you talking about? Grandma, do you know what world I live in? Yeah, like we're not in a segregated world anymore, Grandma. Jesus Christ.
Do they come out?
There are fears around conservative countries. Like, people have the right to say what they want to say.
Point came out and did a spill on
Just
it.
because you have an opinion that's different.
They got on Facebook and stuff. Yeah, but I mean, it's like these guys are like a fart in the wind compared to what we're actually doing. So like a lot of people are just spreading something stuff. You know?
Black Lives
This
Matter!
goes both ways. Is it Democratic, Republican, or is one?
Yeah, so they got to piggyback on fucking all.
One
Yeah.
side's right, the other's correct. And it's tricky because who's to say? You know?
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
You're racist.
Black Lives Matter!
You're racist.
Black Lives Matter!
Ain't no black person like
Black
you.
Lives Matter!
Ain't no black person
Black
like you.
Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
You're a demon, dude.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
It's racist. It's racist.
So do you actually want to talk about the fact that there
Yeah,
are
let's
white
talk.
people in the
Let's talk.
Bible?
Let's talk.
You wanna
Let's talk.
about
Let's
that?
talk about the Bible that you don't believe in. Let's talk about the Bible. You don't even believe in God.
I don't believe in the Bible.
You don't believe in it. No, you
It's
don't.
true, I don't.
I know you
I
don't.
almost
So don't
got
talk. Let's talk
murdered
about
over
it.
it. So if you want to talk about that.
Let's not talk about it until you believe.
You want to talk about how people thought it was okay to like murder me in elementary school because I wore a pentagram? Fun fact, I wasn't Satanist then, but I am now. I was pagan.
So your religion. Okay, you're religious.
Yeah.
And so you hate
Well, no, I'm
Jesus.
spiritual.
You're still no, you're religion. It's a practice. You're religious.
I am spiritually
You're not spiritual.
wicked, and I am morally
That's true.
Satanist.
That's
I'm
true.
morally Satanist.
You are spiritually wicked. That's true.
Wicked.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's true too. I'm wicked as fuck. I'm a motherfucking heathen.
He just gave me that. I got a black friend comment. I can't help it.
Oh shit!
That's so
Guys, he knows black people.
High five, bro.
He's not racist. He knows the black people okay everyone wrong. You're right. Whole revolution over. Whole revolution over.
Oh yeah.
He knows the black people.
I guess I haven't been out here enough to see this in my
Right. And that's just a problem. It's not a fix. It's just reality is most people have it, so they don't know until they actually see it. And it's hard for
Okay, so
I get the ratios are wrong,
15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
How many stand with you guys? How many black people stand with you guys? No. Not the hood.
It was started
Not
by
the
a black
ghetto.
woman.
Not the
I'm
hood.
gonna say her
Not the
name,
Bloods and
but
Crips.
I
They
think you
don't,
know
do
who
they?
it is.
The black folks don't. The black
It was
folks
started
don't.
by a black
The
woman.
black
This
folks
movement
don't.
in Portland was started by by a black woman.
Not from the out. The majority of black people ain't down there, are they? Are they? Are they? Are they? Are the majority of black people down there? I don't care. A lot. Earlier in the night. Earlier in the night. They're at the Justice Center talking, and then they leave. Facts.
They leave.
White people are ruining it for us.
They go home.
You white people anarchists are ruining it.
They hijacked the word black. You have hijacked the
You think you're
word
doing
black.
something for me? You're not. You're hurting me since you care. You and your boy over here are hurting.
All I'm doing is
You and your boy.
leadership. I am following
What?
a black person.
I'm a black person. Follow me. I'm a black person. Follow me. Then you don't care. I sure do. He was black. Remember? Remember? Jesus was black. Remember? According to you. So follow him. Remember, he was. Oh, well, then stop talking about the Bible to me.
Follow Jesus.
Then stop talking about the Bible to me.
In the name of Jesus.
Oh, get over it. Get over it. Get over it.
Get over it.
Get over it. Grow up. Get over it. How old were you at the time? How old were you?
Let's see. The first time somebody tried to murder me because of that, I was about 8. The second time I was
They
in
tried to
middle school,
murder
so
you.
I'd say about, somebody pulled a knife on me, then another
Oh, like you guys did a black guy the other night?
So you're talking about the person who went up
The
and
white
assaulted
person that's with you guys. The white person that was with you white people.
I don't think he should have gotten stabbed. I wasn't there that night, but I did
But
see
he
the
was.
footage of him running up, putting his arm around
Birds of a
somebody.
feather flock together.
Putting your arm around someone.
Did you see the footage?
I did.
Of
I did. I'll give you credit. I'll give you credit.
I'm serious.
I saw
think he
this.
should have got, I think that was fucked up. Yeah, the pedophile who fucking stabbed a black person at BLM. No, fuck him. Fuck it. No, every single person I've talked to. That's every single person
But you're not
that
doing
I
it-
talked to doesn't like him, doesn't want him. If I've interacted with him a couple times, every time that I have, he seemed like a fucking nutcase.
But you guys are not doing nothing for black people. Get the point. You hear it from a black man. A black man. You're not doing nothing for black people. You're not.
Listening to
Listen to me. Listen to me.
a black woman who
Beca-
told me exactly how I can use my
Here.
white privilege to make sure that
White
black
privilege? Why do you have what's white privilege?
I'm less likely to get
No,
murdered
you're-
by
no, you're-
police. I am more likely to be
No, you're not.
alone.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
I bet you I get a little more than you could. I bet you I could.
Okay, someone my age. I have terrible credit.
Well, okay.
I do. Someone
but
my age.
What's your age?
I'm 21.
I know I'm
credit
arguing
cards
with
and they're
you.
both
I need to have a little bit
collections,
more
all
grace.
right? All right, I'm not perfect.
You're
I'm
still
not perfect.
you're still a rookie. You're 21.
Someone my age
You're right.
with around the same, like, you know what I'm saying? Though?
Okay.
Yeah, you could probably get along before I could, 100%. I have terrible credit.
Is it because I'm black?
No, it's because you're older than me, and you seem.
Right. There's some exact. Get to it. You're on a
I
roll.
mean, you seem, I don't know.
You're on a
You
roll.
Look like you actually have a credit score.
You're on a roll. That's not because I'm black though.
It's not 'cause of-
exactly. We're getting
Someone
somewhere.
my age.
We're getting somewhere.
Someone my age, or if there
Even-
was another person, I don't know.
We're
Okay,
getting-
I'm not gonna get into this exact thing.
We need to.
How are you trying to tell black people what it is they want while they're
Get off the
standing right in
statistics.
front of you? Like you know better
What do you
than
mean
me.
statistics? Statistics are
Which
what
statistic? Which statistic? I mean, there's so many different. Which one?
Oh, do you want me to look it up right now?
Well,
I'll look. No, if you want to take the time,
Go
I will
ahead.
look it up.
Go ahead. Because how do you know that statistic's right?
I'm just gonna look up white
How do you-
privilege in America. Is
Let's
that
go
okay?
to a liberal website.
Okay, then we're gonna pick
I don't.
a different website.
What about people?
CJ Thomas. Okay, UNC Justice. What is that? The United Methodist Church. Are we okay with that? Let's click on that.
I'm not Methodist.
I mean, you're religious.
No, I'm not.
To me, they all
Believing
seem the
God's not
same.
They're not the same, but that's
I know,
fine.
but like all the Abrahamic religions,
Believing in God doesn't make you religious. You're already wrong on that.
So when did you start doing all this activism stuff and get into this? When did you win?
My mom took me to my first pro-choice rally when I was about 7 years old.
A pro-choice. Okay, so and since then you've been kind of doing it since.
Okay, here we go. Yes. I grew up in a small town in California. I've been doing activism whatever way I can, and then I moved up to Portland as a starving artist with everything that I own in my shitty two-door car to live in somebody's basement to work in theater.
Okay, why'd you do that?
Because I always wanted to get out of my hometown. Okay, so the UMC Justice, the United Methodist Church, says while people of color make up about 30% of the United States population, they account for 60% of those in prison. The incarceration rates disproportionately impact men of color. 1 in every 15 African American men and 1 in every 36 Hispanic men are incarcerated in comparison to 1 in every 106 white men.
That don't mean white privilege. That does not mean white privilege.
No.
So what does it mean?
So black people are more
I know about black people.
overcharged.
I know.
Statistically, they're more likely to get overcharged for a small crime like marijuana or some kind of speeding thing. Where white people like Felicity Huffman, she lied in order to get her daughter into a good school, like she paid them off or she fucked with her SAT scores or something. Meanwhile, this black mother used a friend's address to get her daughter into a good school, and I'm pretty sure she's looking at 15 years in prison. Meanwhile, Felicity Huffman only had to pay a fine, which basically paying a fine means that it's free for rich people. I don't think it's...
But you're not no richer than probably some other black people.
I'm a broke-ass bitch. I got 12 bucks
Okay,
in my bank account.
but I'm trying to say everything don't have to do with black people. It has nothing to do with like this black.
But I personally am doing a lot better than someone of color who may have been in a similar situation to me.
I've probably been in similar situations as you.
You're so old.
But still, at your age, I was pushed to the ground.
There's also
not because I was black though.
Taking into account inflation, like when you were 21.
Yeah, I get all that. Yeah, I mean, yes.
You had money was more valuable back then when you were my age. I'm not going to assume how old you are, but inflation gets bigger every year.
I used to be a DJ here in Portland, Oregon, on a major radio station and in clubs.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
That's cool. I'm a stripper.
Okay, so I mean, I know about a grind, I know about the hustle, but at some point, and you will too, hopefully, and that's where the Jesus that maybe you don't believe in convicted me. The Holy Spirit convicted me. I had to change my life. It was Martin Luther King was a black man, right? What was his main speech? Judge by the content of your character. We all judge. We all judge. There's nothing wrong with judging. Why are we so sensitive to judging?
No, I don't think there's any problem with judging.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the harm from judging people came from the Bible. When he said, "Thou shalt not judge."
Right, it does say that, but people don't understand the context of.
I
But
judge
that's
people
fine.
every day. I judge
Right, we all judge.
I judge my girlfriend,
Right.
my wife. You just judge people.
You judge people. We judge people all the time. You vote when people vote. Election, they're judging. So I don't have no problem with judging. Judge me all you want. I don't care. So when police, even profile is judging. Just like me, if I go downtown at night, I'm probably going to see people like dressed like you. I'm making a judgment because of the experiences that I've dealt with. Does it mean I still came up and spoke to you today?
And my judgment is you're wearing Jesus
Yes.
and all of this, and that we're probably not going to have a very friendly conversation.
Why?
I have not had a lot of friendly conversations with Christians. I'm a Satanist. A lot of people feel very threatened by that. I'm very comfortable in this.
I'm not threatened.
I have almost been murdered by people in the name of Christ. Like, people tried to kill me when I was a child because of it. Did you know that Martin Luther King also said that a riot is the language of the unheard?
First,
Did you know that they also murdered him, and this shit only started happening when he got murdered? The people who murdered George Floyd only got arrested when they burned down the police precinct. Shit happens. And I think lives are worth more than property.
Okay.
And you know, the Boston team.
I want to tell you one more thing. You may not believe in the Bible, or you believe more satanic stuff, but humans aren't created good. We have a sin nature.
That's also more of a philosophical versus a spiritual
I
sin.
know
I think
it's more of a doctrinal thing, actually.
I personally,
We're not. When he was 1 year old, or 2 years old, or any of my children, I didn't teach them to lie to me, did I?
no, but they're gonna.
Why?
Lying isn't inherently bad though. People lie because they're scared. People lie.
Why should we be afraid of people? Why should we fear people?
Okay, so.
But bottom line,
When I think about times in which I thought it was okay to lie was when I was in an abusive relationship and I didn't feel safe.
But what I'm trying to say is the root started. Right? It's inheritance. It's inheritance. We're created separate and apart from God because of the sin that's in all people, and that's why the world's like.
I don't think it's because of sin. I think it's because
is.
we're animals. Animals eat things. They like murder and like rape. Like dolphins, like bash in penguins, like they just for fun too, and then they'll just leave their bodies there. Like we're flawed because we're animals.
Well, I'm definitely not an animal. Like that? I'm supposed to have authority over animals.
You have blood. I mean, like, yeah, we're definitely an animal. We're definitely like the smartest, the most mature. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're the smartest. Dolphins are pretty smart, but we are definitely still animals. We could be socialized and cultured and be smart and self-aware, but when it comes down to it, we are animals, and I feel like that's where a lot of our flaws come from, because we are imperfect. Our brain is just like electrified tapioca, just kind of.
You're right. We are imperfect.
I don't think it's because of the sin of
Really? Have you looked at the world? Have you looked at the condition of mankind? No matter what side, have you looked at the condition of mankind?
I have read about indigenous civilizations living peacefully, sustainably, and not destroying the earth in the same way that capitalists are. I don't think it's because of I don't think the status of the world is because inherently of the human condition. I think it has to do with capitalism and just greed that gets fed into.
Greed is another thing. Yeah, right. Greed is another thing. Yeah. Greed's part of it.
So that also comes part of, like an animal's first instinct when they see something new is to fear it, right? So when you're put in a situation and you're able to hoard money and resources, people do because they live in fear, and that fear only gets multiplied the more money you have.
Okay. But here's the thing. You're going into a lot of areas that connect to different things. The main thing what's going on right now in our culture and our society is, one is whether you believe in the pandemic or not, how serious it is or not. Two, whether you want to say it's justice or injustice with the police, and what people are talking about, the Black Lives Matter. Nobody down here, not one person, has said that Black lives does not matter. Not one. I'm standing with people. I'm talking to you. Not one person here said my life don't matter or their lives don't matter. Not one.
I have heard people here. No, not right here on this corner, but in Portland. Two people specifically. I was walking around after a small little protesting, and I saw a car drove by, and I thought that, they kind of like looked like they were radical, whatever. So I said, "Hey, Black Lives Matter," and he looked at me straight in the face. He said, "No, they don't." Two people said that to me, like that day. I said, "Black Lives Matter." They straight up said, "No, they don't." And the thing is, my mother-in-law is from the South. She's from Georgia. She lives in fucking Roseburg. She also is insistent that Black lives actively do not matter. I have seen people say in the movement. Also, I do think when you say, my biggest point about the All Lives Matter and the Back to Blue movement is that when somebody says Black Lives Matter and in response you say All Lives Matter, that completely, well, yes, I will say, well, no, I don't think all lives matter. It's not about race. I think pedophiles don't matter. I think like high criminals don't matter. I think people who commit genocide don't matter. I think that there are some very evil people whose lives don't matter. So I'm not. Other than that, when you are born, inherently your life matters before you commit some monstrosity. Yes, and it's not based on race. But when you say all lives matter, especially in response to Black Lives Matter, that completely speaks over the fact that Black people are experiencing injustices, systematic genocide in our country. That just speaks over it. And I haven't seen a lot of people agree when I say Black Lives Matter.
Okay. You made some points. Here's the thing. There's a reason why they're saying all lives matter, okay? It has nothing to do with that Black lives don't matter. So first let me go back to your mom. For me, I don't care who's racist, who's not. Does it affect me? No.
I mean, for me, it kind of sucks.
Why?
I want to go over there and stay.
She's really sweet. She cooks well, but like, I don't want to eat with racists.
Okay, I get that, but okay, and that's I wouldn't either.
I mean, like, my mother-in-law's racist. I hate that.
Right. I'm not saying you should, but I'm like, it's not doing nothing to me. I mean, and on the opposite end, there's Black people say, "Hey, look at the white boy." That's racist to me. When I'm hearing Black men make white people say Black Lives Matter and raise their fist, you don't think that's offensive to me?
I don't know why it would be offensive.
Why? If this means Black Power, if that's what it means, Black Power, because it did, and I see white people starting to do this, why wouldn't that be offensive?
The Power Fist actually started for labor laws, for children labor laws. laws. I can't remember exactly where or what time it was, but I definitely think that it has been adopted like that. And I have talked with people, and they don't mind white people putting up the Black Power fist as long as it's during like that kind of conversation.
And you know why a lot of black people don't mind that? Because a lot of black people are still enslaved in their own communities. They're still feeling like this. They're still feeling that they can get a rise, that they can control white people. Now, why would I want that? Why would I want black people to start to control and make you do this? Have you seen the videos that white people are kissing black people's boots? Why? Why? That's degrading.
I mean, I don't think I wouldn't do that.
But they're doing it.
With me right here.
I'm not all white people.
They're doing it. You know, and I would stick up for you. Like, dude, why are you making some white people? That's stupid.
I mean, if they consent to it, I mean, like.
Well, I guess fine, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't all this stuff that a race needs power and control for what?
I don't think they need power and control. I think why people get offended, like why white people or why some people might get offended when they say Black Lives Matter is because.
Come over here so I can actually hear you.
They live in a little bubble, like a fishbowl, right? And when you live in a specific, when you live surrounded by water, you don't see when there's, you can't really see when there's anything different.
Right.
So I think a lot of white people feel threatened when they hear Black Lives Matter because they grow up in a position of privilege and power, and a lot of them don't see it. I didn't see it for a really long time. I was actually kind of conservative growing up. Like I said, I did grow up in a small town in California. It's only 2 hours south of the Oregon border. It's Diet Oregon, basically.
Right.
I just have to say that because whenever I tell people I'm from California, people fucking run and almost beat me up. Like, I hate it. But it's 2 hours. I spent a lot of time in Oregon growing up, whatever. But I didn't see that I, as a white person, grew up with a lot of privilege. I also didn't grow up around a lot of black people. I did date a couple black people in high school, but that doesn't mean anything. But when I started growing up, people started talking to me, we started having an open dialogue, and then I realized and I saw it for myself that I, as a white person, have more privilege than other black people. And the longer I live here, specifically in Portland as well, the more that I see it and the more that I experience it.
Okay.
Like somebody who was my age, Denise Hayes, got shot 12 times in the back by police. Right here in Portland, like 3 blocks away from where my black boyfriend works. That fucking scares me.
I guess the thing, though, is like, for me, how long do we need to play victimhood? How long do we need to hold on to what happened?
What do you mean we?
Whoever, I don't care who it is. I mean, you mentioned the fact that you was almost killed as a kid. Black people, most of us, well, so-and-so, my cousin was the gentleman that played at PSU. That was my cousin. It wasn't killed by a police officer, but what about the black-on-black crimes? Why don't it matter about that? So there's a lot of in-house stuff. I gotta head out. Okay, all right. There's a lot of in-house stuff that has to be taken care of. So for us to sit here and go, boom, the police, there's a lot of in-house stuff within our own culture and community that needs to be dealt with, big time. That's where you could help. The police, it has to do with character.
So you're talking about like places, to use your words, like the hood, right?
Yeah.
So places like the hood, feel free to tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. They, from my understanding of the situation, they exist because
good son there, man.
All right, thank you.
It's hard for people to get housing otherwhere. Or why don't you tell me? Actually, I'm not gonna say. Why don't you tell me why there are places like the hood? Why are there these congregations?
Because there has been, in some things, some situations. Okay, let's just go back to define systematic racism. Do I believe that Vanport used to be the hood? Y'all don't know if you know about the Vanport flood that happened. My grandmother was white. She lived in Vanport, but it was also a black community, so it was kind of poor. More, I'd say, I'm not saying it's poor because of black people, it was a poor community. So it got flooded, black people moved up to MLK area, so that because that was the closest area. That was the closest area that people moved into. Okay, but there's a lot of things within, it's not, and so when you do something, people, like the gentleman said, you know, kind of birds of a feather flock together. They stay together. People are there. People aren't. We're in 2020. Okay, things are a lot different. I experienced racism here in Portland. I've lived here all my life, 44 years old. So 76, I went to Caucasian schools. I had to put powder on in order to play with white kids. I experienced white.
That's horrible.
I mean, okay, I'm not letting it hurt me. You see what I'm trying to say? I'm not dwelling. I was 8 years old. Who cares?
Well, I mean,
who cares?
Stuff
I mean,
like that. It reminds me of.
I'm not traumatized by it.
Well, no, but I feel like that's still like slowly indoctrinating black people to become more white. Like that's like saying that you have to be more white, that there's something wrong with your skin color.
Right.
That's we're gonna put powder on you to make that's fucking ridiculous. That pisses me
and
off.
I'm not disagreeing with that. Okay, but
I mean, at a young age, you're learning.
Right, I'm not disagreeing with that. But at what point do I grow up and become mature, and not still stay there and say, "Woe is me"?
What would you say if they did that to your son?
Well, I didn't have no dad, so what I'd say to him would be something different than what I had. So why didn't I have a dad? Why do most of black people don't have fathers? At least in the old days or in times past. It has to do with a lot of stuff. But now, why do we still stay in those conditions? We're in 2020. There's no excuses.
So I feel like it's still, people are still forced to live there because
They're not forced.
I feel like it's the only option that a lot of people have because of the systematic racism that pits against black people. That makes it hard for black people to.
At one point, yes. I'm not disagreeing. At one point, it was difficult. At one point, it was difficult for me to become a manager at Tower Records back in the days. It was difficult. It was difficult for me to move up.
Right, but you're older now.
Exactly.
Right?
And
young black people.
right. So if you can become older, you put away childish things. I'm not going to walk around with my pants sagging. I'm not going to I want to present myself professionally and talk professionally. I'm not going to be going around out on the street throwing up gang signs. Because guess what? That's going to put me in a box. And I'm stuck in that box then. I'm stuck in that box. There's nothing wrong with living in the hood. If you want to live in the hood, live in the hood. But it's about your character. There's police officers that still live in Northeast Portland.
You know, most of Portland cops don't actually live in Portland.
Some don't, but there are some that still live in Northeast Portland who are black. It's character. Go ahead.
Isn't the argument, I think the argument that I've heard from friends of mine who have her ideology is that when you say, oh well, black people should start behaving in a way that will improve their life, and they say, well, they've lived under this systemic racism, as they call it, for so long that they're put into a position in which they're forced to make these lifestyle choices that
it's harder to get out of it.
Right. So
it can,
saying,
yeah.
So
it
there's
can.
no personal responsibility. They refuse to tell a black person, hey, your life is your own destiny. Like, quit stealing, quit robbing, quit doing this. They say no. They've been so put upon by the white man that they're forced to do that. And so I think isn't that the issue?
I wouldn't tell anybody that actually, no matter your race, because there's a lot that goes into. There's a lot that goes into poverty. It's classism, a lot of it has to do with mental illness, and part of it does have to do with race.
But at what point does the black community have to rely on their own personal responsibility and say, we're fed up with the conditions?
How many job applications have you filled out?
I don't know, I don't count them.
What do they ask you? They ask you about your race and they ask you about your mental disability. Sometimes they even ask you if you've ever been on food stamps. Now, it is illegal to discriminate based off of that, yes, but there's no way to prove if somebody actually is or not.
But I think you're missing the point. I'm saying that the black community should stand up and say we're fed up with this instead of saying
I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying.
I
know what he's saying. Basically, in a sort of out way, what he's saying is that, again, it goes back to the woe is me. When, as far as black people, is basically the motivation. Most black people, I know the top 3 things that most black people chase: fame and money. And it's basketball, sports, music industry. They want to be those top things because that's where the big money's at, right? Let me get out. I'll get my family out of the hood. We've seen it with Snoop. We've seen it all the big stars.
Right. So the thing about that actually makes a lot of sense because that is the place where black people are most placed in society. That's one of the only places where you will see a famous black, not the only place, but the most common place you will see a famous black person is in sports and in music.
And guess what that's doing to the black community as well? It's destroying it.
I
think it's pushed on again by society that you are only allowed to be rich and famous if you contribute to entertainment.
Right, but that's not the case, and that's what I'm trying to say. So in-house stuff, we need to change our minds.
Oh, right. That put in my other point that it's not. It's a race issue that's tied in very heavily with classism.
With the what?
With classism.
Okay.
So I feel like if it was easier in general for people who are impoverished, poor, to get on their feet and get a job and get housing, then that's an issue wrapped in of it as well. That's why you see a lot of homeless people on the street, a lot of them are white. It's not entirely about race. It's mostly about classism, but because we already live in a system that systematically oppresses black people, it affects black people disproportionately more than white people. Right? I mean, like, I've never not been in the poverty line. Right? And I'm white. Right. I'm poor as shit. I've always been poor as shit. I will probably never own a house except for the house that my dad will give me when he dies.
But there you go. You could, though. That's what. See, your mindset is no different than some of the black people's mindset. Your mindset is no different right now. All you're doing is speaking death upon your own self. I'll never do this. I did that. Like, what? Well, you could. Why don't you? You could. Why don't you?
Bring up why I brought up my dad was a veteran. I swear to God that was relevant. He's a veteran. The only reason why he was able to buy a house is because he was a veteran and he got assistance from the VA. That's the only way in which I'll be able to own a house.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because with classism, it is very hard for people who are on the bottom to get hired.
Okay.
Right? So I personally have mental illnesses. I have PTSD and I have generalized anxiety and one other that I can't remember because there's no point in like holding on to that all the time. It's really hard for people, young people, to get, ADHD, that's funny. It's really hard for people to get mental health assistance, especially if you're poor. Again, once you're poor, once it rains, it starts pouring. Say if you're on the street in your houses, you're living in a tent, all right, you get a job interview. That's great. Let's say you found a place to print out your resume. Sure, a library, whatever. And you found a way to look presentable enough to drop off your resume. Okay, you get a job interview. Where are you going to shower? Where do you get the nice clothes? Let's say you get the job.
I understand.
You get the job, you get paid. In order to get paid, you need to have a bank account. In order to have a bank account, you need to have an address. Let's say you use your friend's address, all right? You probably don't have reliable transportation over there. And it's still, like, maintenance, getting a job is very expensive. It's very hard. That's even if you're, like, literally in a tent. What we need is assistance towards the working and poor class. I'm lucky that I still have a house, even though I haven't made money in a long time because of the pandemic. Like I said, I'm a stripper. Strip clubs are closed. It is the only job due to my mental and physical disabilities because I have osteoarthritis, where the goo in between my joints is deteriorating very rapidly. So it hurts me to be active for very long periods of time, but because of the exercise that pole dancing gives, it actually strengthens my muscles. I also have retrolesthesis, where one of the vertebrae in my back is sliding backwards, and I am not able to get medical assistance for this. I mean, the retrolesthesis I could if I got surgery, but that's very expensive. Everything else is a chronic condition. Everything else I'm going to have for the rest of my life. And I personally, because of how the system is set up, I am still not likely to make it very far.
In everything you said, I'm sorry for a lot of things you're going through.
Oh, I don't care.
But,
yes, thank you, but it's no big deal. Thank you, but it's no big deal.
You are saying a lot of things that the whole Black Lives Movement is saying. I can't.
It's not just about pulling yourself up. I'm in pain right now.
Okay.
Like standing here, I'm in physical pain in my back. Like I can't stand for long periods of time. Whether it's the best job I'd be able to get, I'd have retail jobs before. I even worked in insurance. I'm a licensed insurance agent in Oregon. And even that, nobody liked my personality. I worked at different offices and nobody liked me, so I had to find a new job. I don't know why people don't like me.
It's not because I'm combative or anything.
I'm just saying that that's a lot of stuff. It's just nonstop. I can't. You know, as far as
It's not can't. It's harder. And you know what?
yeah, but what's hard also makes you stronger.
Yeah,
What happened to that
I hate
fight?
that mentality because
What?
I have PTSD from very awful things that happened. I'd rather be a weak ass bitch who didn't have PTSD than be strong and have to deal with what I have to deal with every day. I mean, like, you know, people, I'm not gonna assume anything, you know, but you say black on black crime, like, you think people come out of that completely okay? You think people come out of that without, like, debilitating mental illnesses? Like, that's just hard. Like, I know it seems like it could be easier because, you know, it's all in your head. You just need to motivate yourself. You just need to lift yourself up by your bootstraps. But mental illnesses actually mean things. And so do physical illnesses. I mean, like, my knees hurt, my back hurt, and, like, I gotta start moving soon, or I'm gonna be out all day.
Another piece of it too, though, is honestly. Another piece of it too is regarding you. I know you said you're more satanic, okay?
Yes, I'm really satanic. But spiritually pagan. Continue.
I don't want to say, but that could have something to do with your physical pain. It could.
I was not raised satanic.
But even if
my physical thing, I was actually born with osteoarthritis. And the osteoarthritis actually caused my back problems from my vertebrae to slide because my joints are not keeping my bones in place. I was born with this. I don't think I was born with PTSD, but like, pretty sure that was a gift from my parents.
it still could be taken care of, it could.
Well, it's definitely, it is chronic. It can be like treated, it can be regulated. You know, like I am seeing a therapist and I feel like I'm doing okay, but I still struggle with anxiety. You know.
Well, I don't know why you're down here.
This empowers me. This actually makes me feel good because personally, because of the stress that I have about things that aren't real, the anxieties that I have about things that aren't happening, when I get stressed about things that are real and that are happening, it actually comforts me because I have somewhere to put all that anxiety. I feel great.
Or you could put it in God and trust.
I don't believe in God.
Right, but you could.
I don't believe in the lot of the Bible either, like where it says that if you touch, I read a lot of the Bible actually, where if you touch a woman who is bleeding, then you're dirty. If a woman touches something while she's bleeding, then she's dirty. Like you can't mix fabrics.
That's old.
Like I'm married to a woman. Like it's too late. It's too late for me.
It's not too late. No, it's not. It's not too late. But yeah. But you get walking. But just be careful. I mean, you're still young. Don't let a bunch of things influence you so easy. Okay, but
I still try to do the best that I can every day. I'm still very happy person.
But honestly, downtown at night isn't doing the best for you, and it's not helping black people.
I'm getting shot all the time.
Well, but that too.
That's not good for my health.
That too. But it's not helping the cause for black people. Nothing's changed for black people because of that.
Things have been changing around the country and around the world.
What?
And I do respect you as a person and as a person of color. I am just going to continue listening to the other black people that I know and trust and have an intimate relationship and listen to their direction and what they think I am able to do.
What are they telling you that you should do? Are they telling you that you should burn the city down or destroy it? I'm not saying.
I said that.
Well, people that you're affiliated with, do they believe that should happen?
Most of the people that I've been talking to don't actually believe in the violence. They're all about peaceful protests.
Okay.
I personally think that...
I heard what you said about that. It's just a building. I got that.
Oh, yeah. I think we're getting dangerously close to a point of actual revolution. I think it's getting really bad to the point, not even about Black Lives Matter. Like, all right, my final point. This started with Black Lives Matter, and it is still very deeply rooted in Black Lives Matter. Now, when the government said that we cannot protest peacefully, when black people are getting murdered and executed in the streets, they met us with tear gas and getting shot.
I want to be honest about that. I was there.
I was there the first night.
I was there the first night too.
Did you see my blue tent from the Justice Center?
Well, there was a lot of people the first night, and it was second night.
Well, the first night of the riots, I camped out there for 2 nights before I slept peacefully in front of the Justice Center for 2 nights. I had to ask strangers to help me carry my shit from my tent in front of the Justice Center in my car because my girlfriend was going to be pissed if I left her bedding there. And I was not about to leave my guitar down in a riot. But I was there day 0 and day 1, and I didn't see anything that excuse the response that has been going on that night and the 2 months after. And I feel like it's a lot bigger than Black Lives Matter.
Of course it is. Yes, it is.
This is about our First Amendment right to assemble. Just personally, just for me, I don't speak for anybody else. I don't speak for Black Lives Matter. I don't even speak for other white people, the black people, other Antifa. For me, this is about our First Amendment right to assemble. It started out as Black Lives Matter, and it's still about Black Lives Matter, but right now it's about our First Amendment.
Okay.
Just personally.
All right.
It's nice chatting with you.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna head out.
All right.
You
gonna head out?
I'm gonna head out. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just waiting.
Okay.
We gotta cross the street.
That's all right.
We'll walk up to the other end. Down that road.
I feel like I need to go talk to them.
You're gonna go talk to them?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
So they're violent.
Yeah, that little guy.
You tried the guy in the white
He's wanting to get into it.
Yeah.
The guy in the white tank's really fired up.
Yeah, but I'd love to see what they say.
Huh?
Don't let him go.
Oh no.
The one gentleman was already up on stage. They were spitting. No mask, no nothing.
You say what?
COVID tested. He wants to fight.
Oh, does he?
He's really close.
He wants it.
He does. He wants his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, stay here. Let me ask him.
Hey, buddy, okay?
Let me stay here.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Talk to you. It's all good. You Filipino or
Guam, yeah.
Guam? Okay. All right. I know a lot of Cambodians and Guam and all that. I know a lot of them. So why? It looks like you're kind of.
No, I'm out here. I'm giving my
okay.
Black, brown, yellow, green, purple. Don't matter.
Right.
Don't matter.
So would all lives matter?
When Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
then all lives will matter.
What do you mean?
But you don't see a white folks sitting out there going to get arrested and getting their knee put on their neck. You don't see that. You can go downtown. There's a whole bunch of white people jumping on the fence, shaking the fence when the feds were there.
Okay.
Right. But if it was a colored person, if it was a black person, things would be different. They came up to me.
You're saying if black people was on the fence shaking it?
I'm not saying specifically black people. I'm saying any colored person.
Okay.
Go up there and rattle the fence. It'd be a whole different ballgame.
Well, a lot of the white people have been complaining what they're doing.
What's that?
A lot of the white people have been complaining because mostly it's white people down there at night.
Yeah.
But
they're there for the movement. They're there because Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
They're there for that.
Okay.
We're not going up to people and saying, are you even black? Are you even whatever? It don't matter where you're from. It don't matter where you're from. Everybody should be treated equally. Am I right or am I wrong?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we're not being treated fair equally, we're gonna put our voices out there to let it be known.
Okay.
To let it be known that everybody needs to be treated equally, no matter where you're from, what you wear, what your gender is, what you do, who you rep. Don't matter who your mom or your dad is, if they're the president or not. That's why I'm out here.
Okay.
I was being cool. I was out here supporting my voice, and he came up to me, gets in my face, and he says, are you even black? It don't matter if you're black or not. Don't matter where you're from. Don't matter.
Okay, true. So you came out. Do you think that those people were there or don't believe that Black Lives Matter, or what's your thought? I
don't know what they believe in. Obviously, they're in there. They have their own reasons for out there. I have my own reasons for being out here. I didn't go up to them. I came out here to voice my opinion.
Right. You gave me kind of your voice, but your voice and your opinion, like it's almost like this show off. You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
It's almost like this show off here between like them and over here.
Oh yeah, because they want their voice to be known, but we want our voice to be known.
What's their voice to be known about? What?
To back the blue.
Okay.
Okay, cool. They back the blue. That's cool with them. We're supporting what we support. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no.
But do you guys back the blue?
I never have.
You never have. Okay. So, but have you talked?
But this is where it
I'm saying, but first, because since we're doing a Black Lives Matter thing, does anybody know if they are for Black Lives Matter?
Obviously, he came up to me and he asked me if I'm black, so that shows me enough right there. If you come up to me and ask me if I'm even black, quote for quote, are you even black? It doesn't matter if you're black.
Did you ask him why he said that?
No, but it don't matter.
Well, okay.
Because if you ask me that shows me where you stand.
Well,
that shows me where you support. And I support what I support. He believes in what he believes in, and that's that.
Well, I'll tell you, as a black man who's lived here all my life from the hood and been kicked out the hood,
okay.
When I see white people doing this, it offends me.
Okay, well, they have their right to speak.
They do,
they
but I'm just saying for what it looks. Okay, so that if I say you're a white dude trying to tell me and then get mad at me if I don't completely agree with you, I can stand up for myself. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I got you. It's like I said, there was no hostility, there was nothing like that. Everybody's out here voicing their opinions, doing what they do. You know?
Right.
And that's cool. We all support it. You know, if they want to support them, then that's on them. We want to support. We want to support.
Right.
But when you come up to me and you make a comment like that, it shows me where you stand. It shows me what you do. It shows me how you feel. It shows me that you're not out there and protesting like everybody is. You know what I mean? I'm not from here. I grew up in Cali. I grew up in Washington. I grew up in Guam. Like I'm not from around here. So it doesn't even matter where a person is from. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you're. I'm not saying this directly.
No, I know. It's all good. Yeah.
It doesn't matter where this lady is from.
Right.
It doesn't matter where anybody's from because everybody should be treated equally.
Right.
Equally. It don't matter. It don't matter what your situation is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you come up to me, like I said, when you come up to me and make a comment like that, I take that to a whole different.
Well, to be honest with you, I said that to some of the white. I mean, are you black? So what do you know about me?
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if you're black. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're to me, you get what I'm saying. There's a bunch of different ways you can take that. Because to me, especially when I hear a lot of white people and I disagree with them, they're almost telling me, well, you're oppressed because you're a black. I'm not oppressed.
That makes sense.
You know what it's telling? I mean, you're telling me that I'm oppressed.
Yeah, no, you definitely make sense. But like I said, we were only out here to voice our opinion.
Right.
And I was only out here to voice my opinion.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just seems like this show off without why don't we talk about?
No type of show off. It just turned into a whole different ball game when he came up to me like I'm not out here to start no shit. I'm not out here to break no windows. I'm not out here to break into people's shit. I'm not about that. You know what I mean? I want my voice to be known too. Because I'm colored, man. It don't matter at all. You know what I mean? And that's where I stand. That's where I'm always gonna stand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody always has their own different opinion.
Right. And that's what is. It's cool. That's why I think the dialogue should take place instead of just because no one's disagreeing. None of them over there that I've spoken to disagree with Black Lives Matter. They don't disagree with it.
I think the only thing that was taken in the wrong way was the fact that gentleman came over here and said what he said. You know,
probably for you, but
everybody else heard him say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And his friends over there heard him say that because they came in and they pulled him away. Nobody came out here to start nothing. You know what I mean? Nobody came out here to start a fight. He came over here on his own. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's on you. That's your choice. What you want to believe in, that's cool. I'm not going to tell you not to believe in whatever you want to believe in. It's a free country. You do what you want to do.
Right. It's all good, man. Appreciate it, man.
What's your name?
Quincy. I go by the black conservative preacher on Facebook.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
I'll get you for a second.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
So what's going on? I asked Joe Hohen the same thing because there's confrontation going on. So I'm trying to even talk to black people.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
He was talking to me. I was talking to him.
Okay.
And he actually gave me power.
Okay, so I personally went up to him, and two other black girls went up to him, and he didn't want to talk to them. So it must have been because maybe just some difference in opinions, maybe.
Or maybe
I don't know. Right, you can't speak to it, but I'm just saying that I witnessed
it. He was very, very nice and friendly towards me.
Okay.
That's all that I can say. So I don't think he didn't want to speak to black people.
Okay.
I don't want to spin that narrative because that's not accurate. He didn't want to speak to certain people, and they just maybe happened to be black.
So
because I don't think he would speak to some black people and not others if he didn't want to speak to any black person.
okay, fair enough. Good point. So I hate that. I don't care. I don't care what. So what do you think that those people over there are against Black Lives Matter or black people or what?
I can't say that they are against Black Lives Matter, but you can't be for Black Lives Matter and if you're saying all lives matter. And I heard two of them say that. So to me, that's a conflict. You can't be for one and then be for this. Those are direct conflicts of each other.
How come?
So because if you in response to Black Lives Matter and you say all lives matter, that means you are disregarding the movement of Black Lives Matter.
Okay. So what's the movement of Black Lives Matter?
Are you asking because you want my opinion, or are you asking because you don't know? I mean,
Your opinion. Well, I mean, because opinions are different, and I don't know if there's a solid answer across the board.
You haven't watched the news, right?
I watch the news.
Been going on for years, so you do know what the movement of Black Lives Matter is, right? I think that was a rhetorical question, right? I don't think you're asking because you really want to know.
I want to know from you. Yes, I do. From you.
Okay, well, first of all, this is being recorded, right?
It is. You can find me on the Black Conservative Preacher.
Okay, well, actually,
I can turn it if you just want to talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know what fight this is going on, so I just.
It's on Facebook Live.
Well,
That's all.
Can I see the page? Can I see the page?
The page is right there. The Black Conservative Preacher. So
I was walking by. I just decided to jump in, lend my support. That was all. I was actually going to go to the other protest that's in Northeast Portland that started.
Brother Love is putting on. Yes, Anthony, yes.
I was going to go to that, but I seen these people here, so I wanted to come and lend my support. So.
Yeah, because his starts at 2.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. So
Actually, already started. Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't want to leave these people here.
So you grew up here?
Grew up Northeast Portland, born and raised.
Yeah. Okay, I've been here all my life too.
Okay,
you probably know me a little bit, but that's beside the point. So we're in 2020, right? And since we both grew up here in Portland and have seen things, because even back in the 80s and 90s, we had a black chief of police, Chief Moose. Remember him?
Okay.
All right.
I have heard of him, but that was a little bit before my time.
Okay. Do you feel that you're oppressed?
Do I feel like I'm oppressed? In a lot of ways, yes, I do. In a lot of ways, yes, I do.
In a lot, really?
I feel oppressed as a black person, but I also feel oppressed as a female. I feel oppressed as a black female. There's a lot of ways that I feel oppressed. Do you feel oppressed?
I personally don't feel oppressed.
You don't? Not in any aspect?
No. Now, I will say that I've dealt with it. I've been shoved to the ground. I've had knees on my back. Yeah. I've had guns pulled on me. I've had blocks blocked off.
Do you feel like those instances, that type of force was justified?
At the time.
I mean, only you know.
Right. Exactly. I would say at the time. I did the same thing. I'm just driving. No. At the time, I did not. Looking back on some things, or it was just a gun in the car. You know, I wasn't doing nothing, so I would say no at the time. But I look back and I'm like, okay, as I grew up, and the Bible says, put away childish things, change your mind on certain things, renew your mind. I had to say, well, okay, was I breaking the law on some things? Yes. Were some things probably should have been handled that way? Yes. But I've never been. I haven't been killed or shot by a police officer. Either have you? Thank God, right?
Yeah, because we are both standing right here, so
exactly.
We haven't been killed.
So we know that we're just not a target.
Now it kind of sounds like you do feel those types of force that they used on you were justified. Am I correct in that assumption? I understand you correct? Like, you didn't think so then, but you think so now.
In some cases, yeah. In some cases, but was the force? The force didn't go no further than what it was because I complied. I wasn't trying to run. I wasn't trying to do something back. Put your hands up. All right, fine. I'm probably in the wrong right here. I'm going to abide.
Why do they put their knee in your back?
There's many different reasons they put knees in the back.
Because if you were complying, why would they need to put?
Well, because there's a police officer still don't know who he's dealing with. They're still people, just like you. I mean, somebody, whatever the situation may be, they still don't know really. Just like we don't know them, they don't know us. That whole game.
So it depends on how well they know them, as far as what kind of person they're dealing with, as far as what kind of force they use. Am I understanding what you're saying correctly?
You said it depends what?
It depends on how comfortable they are, or how well they know the person. Not know them as who they are, but
know what they're dealing, who they're dealing, what type of person, their character.
Determine the type or amount of force that they use.
What do you mean by the type of force? Like if it's like two people or one person?
Well, no.
Type of thing, or what?
As far as just placing you in cuffs or putting their knee on your back or neck.
Well, usually when they place you in cuffs, it's usually because someone. I know it's hard.
I'm just trying to understand.
I know you are. I know. Yeah, I know you're all good.
I'm trying to understand to make sure that I don't want to misinterpret.
I know you are, sister. I get it. Yeah, no doubt. I'm saying what I'm saying depends on a person being like compliant or having attitude, what they're dealing with,
right? So,
the atmosphere of the situation.
Your opinion is that if their comfort level determines the amount or the type of force that they use.
Well, I think that. Yes, and I don't work for the police, but I'd say yes.
I'm
but
not asking
I know.
For, like, their
right. I would say yes because that's just for I think all of us. Like if a person was being up hostile in your face, like now, if I was to ante it up, right, and I'm sure you're going to use some type of force, and probably some of them.
Oh yes, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. No, of course. No, I'm good. Thank you, my sister.
And even possibly some people might come help you. I mean, we see. You're good. I mean, we see that in the fights all the time too. Usually, how often is it ever a one-on-one fight between people?
Then I would say their comfort level should never determine the type or the level of force. That shouldn't determine that. What should determine the level of force is their training and the protocol. Okay? So
a lot of times the protocol is what they call for backup.
They can have two exact same situations, two people doing or responding the exact same way, but they have two different comfort levels. And that would, according to you, have two different types of force. That is not okay. The way they handle an arrest should be the same. It should always be the same. Whether they're fearful or their comfort level should never be a factor in the type or the level of force that is used.
And maybe comfort.
That is going to change from person to person based on their own biases. And that is not just. That's not just.
So are you kind of holding them to a different standard? I guess, yeah, in a sort of way because they're police.
I'm